going to win this game on the road, Jacob Pullum is going to have another day like he did against Missouri.
So the Longhorns put their 12th ranking on the line and their 15-4 overall mark. 4-1 in conference play against Pullum's Wildcats, who all of a sudden have rebounded with back-to-back wins after losing the first 4 in conference play. It's Texas in their home white and K-State in their road black uniforms. It's the Longhorns with the ball first. That's Mason with it. Mason gives it up for Abrams, closely guarded by Clemente. They work it inside. Pass inside, trying to get it to Ashley, and Cologne with the foul. Let's check out the starting lineups brought to you by Interstate Batteries. And joining Jacob Pullum in that backcourt is Denis Clemente. Then it's Dominique Sutton, Darren Kent, Luis Cologne up front. For the Longhorns, joining Abrams in the backcourt will be Justin Mason. Up front for Texas, James Johnson and Ashley. And Connor Ashley might be one of the keys to this Longhorn team.
I agree. Connor Ashley is struggling mightily in Big 12 games. Just 5 for 25 from the floor. From the three-point line, Connor Ashley, who's an outstanding three-point shooter over his career, just 1 for 14. He has got to get his shot going.
Gary Johnson, another key for them as he hits 1 of 2 free throws, and that allows the full court pressure from the Longhorns.
Well, this will be a great matchup today, Dave. Justin Mason out on Denis Clemente. That is one of the best on-the-ball dribblers in Denis Clemente and one of the best on-the-ball defenders in the conference in Justin Mason.
Pullum being guarded by Abrams. 2 guys in our star watch. Pullum works it into the paint. Nice ditch over to Cologne. He stopped short of Ashley and gets the 2. So Luis Cologne had a big game against the Kansas Jayhawks before fouling out with the first 2 points for the Wildcats.
Tough matchup for Luis Cologne. He's on Gary Johnson. Expect Texas to come set a lot of on-the-ball screens and make Luis Cologne try to defend and help on those dribbles.
Good defense there by Sutton. Not allowed Damian James to bust free. Clemente. Boy, he really fought for that position. Then Ashley with a rebound. Johnson, and there wasn't much that Cologne could do except run into him, and he did, and that's his 2nd foul. So Frank Martin in his 2nd year guiding these Wildcats. See 34-19 overall. An entirely different team for Coach Martin this year. Of course, gone are Beasley and Walker, and they're replaced by a very young team, but a team that looks like they're starting to find their groove. They certainly did last Wednesday night against the Missouri Tigers. They really walloped a very good Missouri team, 88-72.
That's really the most surprising win, I think, of the Big 12 conference season already this year. That was a terrific win for a Kansas State team.
Here comes Clemente on the fly. Pullum pulls up for 3 and nails it. That's a key development for the Wildcats.
Well, that's a great start for Frank Martin. Clemente and Pullum dictate and create most of the offense for these Wildcats.
Both teams are really manning up defensively, aren't they? Ashley trying to get free. That one was partially blocked. Anderson with the rebound.
That shot did not look good. Barnes told us Connor Ashley was really close to getting a stroke back, but that wasn't it.
It looked like it was slow in developing.
It was. He's aiming the ball, and he's looking up and watching the flight of the ball instead of keeping his eyes on the rim, and we'll see if he doesn't get in a better rhythm here in this game.
Darren Kent makes it 7 straight points for the Wildcats. Abrams, boy, was free for a second, didn't take the shot. Now they work it into James. Again, Sutton right there with them defensively.
Dominique Sutton's got the upper body strength to defend Damian James as he tries to back him into the paint.
Clemente with good hands to take it away from Johnson. Then he whips it out. Pullum for another 3. No. 2 Wildcats were there to get the rebound. And then a foul called. I believe this is on Damian James. Rick Barnes doesn't believe that. He's the senior coach now in the Big 12. 11 outstanding years here. And Of course, all the coaches wearing the sneakers here today to outline coaches versus cancer. Something that we're very proud to say in the Big 12 Conference, started by the former coach of the Missouri Tigers, Norm Stewart.
A terrific tradition. And tell you what, Rick Barnes and the Texas staff looks a whole lot better in their tennis shoes than Frank Martin and their staff.
Yeah, with the purple shoes?
The purple shoes just aren't working with those suits.
And a walk by Anderson. So Ron Anderson now playing in the place of Luis Colon with the travel there. One of the things that's allowed the Wildcats to be better over the last couple of games, Reed, they're not turning the ball over nearly as much. Abrams misses another three. He's been struggling with his shot lately. In fact, averaging just 29% on his three-pointers in Big 12 play.
Well, and as soon as he makes a three-point field goal in this game, he will be the all-time career record holder in the Big 12. Already the record holder at University of Texas, but you're right. For the career, he shoots a very high percentage. This year, 39 for the season and just 29 in Big 12 play.
That doesn't make sense. He'll pass Jeff Boschee with a three today. Knocked out by Abrams at the 16:33 mark, and a couple of subs coming in for the Longhorns. So Abrams, while he struggles, he stays in the game, and Rick Barnes will tell you that he offers so much even when he's not scoring, and he hasn't scored as prolifically as he did earlier in the year. But even when he's not, he does the little things that help you win.
A.J. Abrams will finish his career in the top 10 at Texas all-time in games played, three-point field goals, scoring, free throws, and steals. And I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a defender he's turned into.
Pullen with 7 to shoot it now. He pulls up. That one out, no good. Samuels, well, look at that rebound. Throws it up off the glass. Ashley with a nice seal. Picked up in the backcourt by Hill. Now here comes Ball Bay. Look out with him with the ball. He is about as quick as anybody in this conference. And I love the matchup with he and Clemente today.
Boy, you talk about speed on speed. Those two guys can get the ball back down the court in the blink of an eye.
Wish you had a stopwatch, right? Just to time them with the ball.
You wouldn't have much time to press start and stop. Coach Ball Bay has done such a better job taking care of the ball and making better decisions. And as he's developed in those areas, he's gotten more and more playing time from Rick Barnes.
3 straight possessions now for K-State without any points, but they still lead by 6. You talk about a team ice cold right now. It's Texas. They're 0 for 4 from the field. Merriweather comes in to tie things up. We've got a whistle and a foul. So it's Kansas State with a 7-1 lead over the home Texas Longhorns. And we're back after this from your friends at Phillips 66.
Enter the Phillips 66 Big 12 basketball free throw giveaway at Phillips 66 today.
Game on. The doctor is in and he's about to operate.
Win a chance to shoot free throws and score free Phillips 66 gasoline, Big 12 championship tickets, or even $66,000. Work on your game. Then get in the game at your nearest Phillips 66. Because this year, there's up to $66,000 on the line.
Whatever.
In the islands, tropical flavors bring out the best in fresh seafood. At Red Lobster, we're bringing new island-inspired entrees to you, like tender wood-grilled Caribbean rock lobster and shrimp, brushed with a sweet and spicy glaze. New Hawaiian Isle shrimp and salmon, and new wood-grilled citrus rum shrimp and scallops, flame-seared to seal in the juices. Wood grilling and the flavors of the islands. A whole new way to love seafood. For a limited time at Red Lobster.
Topeka Boat and Outdoor Show presented by Heartland Park has everything for the outdoor enthusiast with over 68,000 square feet of recreation products and one of the largest displays of boats under one roof with special boat show prices all weekend. Check out the dragsters and enjoy seminars from pro anglers. Bring the kids to the rock climbing wall, laser shot course, and jet ski simulator. Meet the KU Calendar Girls. See the tricked out Toyota Tundra and 3,200-gallon traveling aquarium. Don't miss the Topeka Boat and Outdoor Show February 6th through 8th at the Kansas Expo Center.
Today's Big 12 game is brought to you by Phillips 66, hard-working gas. By Interstate Batteries, over 200,000 dealers nationwide. Find one at interstatebatteries.com. by Whataburger, just like you like it. By the U.S. Navy. And by the most critically acclaimed Volkswagen ever, the all-new CC. From the state capital of Texas, we're in Austin. Look at that, a young Longhorn fan here, but right now, a little bit miffed as Kansas State huddles up a 7-1 lead. We talked about rebounding from the start. So did both coaches, and so far it's K-State with the advantage.
Kansas State coming out quickly, getting 2 offensive rebounds. And again, this is going to be a key the entire game. Texas, 7 different times this year, they have out-rebounded opponents by a +10 differential. That's a huge number, including their last game, 2 games ago against Texas A&M. Connor Ashley and his teammates out-rebounded the Aggies 41-29. What a great start for Kansas State. I mean, they are doing exactly what Frank Martin would have hoped that they do. They're coming out, they're playing hard, and they're playing with confidence.
Sometimes you get the sense, with both offenses struggling a little bit, Reed, that they just throw the ball up near the rim and then it's part of their offense. Yeah. Just go get the offensive rebound.
I know that's what a lot of people thought every time I shot. Just throwing it up there.
Yeah, but Clyde would get it, or Akeem would. Right. One of those guys would. Abrams, that won't break the record. Poked away from Samuels, he'll get it back.
Well, what a great game Jamar Samuels had against Missouri. 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists for the redshirt freshman. He matches up really well with this Texas front line. He's got the body and athleticism to match up with James and Johnson for Texas.
And look at the spacing inside with Hill right on him. And a good rebound by Pittman. So Rick Barnes has gone to his big lineup. Both Hill and Pittman in at their same time. That's about as big as Texas can get. James from the wing. Nice smooth shot.
That is Damian James' game. When he catches the ball out on the perimeter, takes 1 or 2 dribbles right or left, and goes up and forgets about shooting that 3-point field goal. Wednesday night against Baylor, Damian James frustrated 0 for 5 from behind the line.
That's the first field goal of the game for Texas. They started off 0 for 5 as a team. That foul on Hill, and Hill all of a sudden with 2 fouls. Excuse me, the first foul on Hill. You look at the most career 3-pointers, Jeff Boschee and A.J. Abrams tied. Of course, Boschee played for the Jayhawks about a decade ago.
Yeah, only 3 players in Big 12 history have more than 300 3-point field goals. Clarence Gilbert from Missouri is 3rd right now in the records.
Good fight there for the rebound, and Varez Ward, an up-and-coming freshman for Texas with the rebound there. Ward really played well against Baylor. We saw that the other night, Tuesday night in Waco.
Boy, what a job he did on Curtis Gerald's defensively. Nice steal. Dominique Sutton.
Balme with the block. Nice help.
Now, the Texas coaches will tell you this young man is the most athletic player on their team. Doge Balbe from Turkey has unbelievable athleticism coming into your living room blocking a shot. Whew.
The crowd reacted again. They saw it on the big screen. Now Sutton with it. Texas. Pullen can't hit. Now Anderson. He can't get it. Man, there's a seal over the rim right now. K-State is 3 for 15 from the field, and yet they have this lead. Good move by Balbe. Out to Abrams. There's the record. The all-time Big 12 leader in career 3-pointers made with 339. A.J. Abrams.
And let's stop the game and give him a game ball for crying out loud. What an accomplishment.
Samuels, no. Samuels again, no. Rebound tipped out of bounds. Boy, right now the Wildcats can't buy a bucket.
Well, a terrific find in the corner by Doge Balbe, and there's the record. A.J. Abrams. I'm serious. I would have stopped this game, and I would have given that young man a game ball, because what an accomplishment to break a conference career record. You know, congratulations, A.J. Abrams.
Yeah, well deserved. One of the most prolific shooters, not only in Texas history. He has that record by leaps and bounds, and now he'll just build on the record in the Big 12. Set that bar even higher. break that record, nice drop back from Freddie Brown. To break that record, you have to really start shooting as a freshman and shoot well for 4 straight years.
Yeah, with lots of minutes played per game.
Right.
I mean, he has played more basketball games in a Texas uniform by the end of his career than anybody else in the history of the program.
Reed, when you think about it, too, I mean, a lot of times when you get a great shooter like that, they don't stay 4 years.
Yeah, that's exactly
the
right.
first thing. Another turnover for Texas. Here comes Brown. He pulls up from that same spot. It won't go. But a whistle and a foul, fighting for the rebound. And they're pointing at Darren Kent with the foul. Well, more Big 12 hoops action comes your way next Saturday. Starting off with Colorado against Oklahoma at 12:30. That means you get to see Blake Griffin. And Reed and I will be at Texas A&M to watch these Wildcats take on the Aggies. Purple will be the prominent color in that game. All gets underway next Saturday with Studio 66 on the Big 12 Network.
You know, interesting, Dave. Frank Martin was furious with Fred Brown for taking that shot. I thought that was a good shot because he had 2 offensive rebounders running the lanes, and as well as they rebound on the offensive end, I thought that was a pretty good shot.
Abrams with a floater that won't go. Rebound out of bounds. It'll go to Texas. It went off of Kent last as he was falling to the court. So 11:52 to go as A.J. Abrams goes into the Big 12 record book with this 3-pointer from the wing. Back to Austin, Texas, with Kansas State leading by 3.
Before I started college courses, I charted these courses.
See, we're on course, on track.
Before I got my electronics business underway, I got these underway.
Bridge, this is main control.
The Navy got me the money I need for college.
And gave me an accelerated course to my business.
Before I start my own practice out there, I'll get the practice I need here in the Navy.
Navy, accelerate your life.
Is it possible to fit a square peg into a round hole? Well, if that square peg is Whataburger's patty melt, and that round hole is your kisser, you betcha. The Whataburger Patty Melt is back. 2 patties, jack cheese, creamy pepper sauce, and grilled onions on Texas toast.
What a burger!
Just like you like it.
Nobody gives you more power than Interstate Batteries. And we have a national warranty program with over 200,000 dealers to back it up. How do we make them so powerful? Now that's a secret. Get the battery with more power in it and the most power behind it. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
In the world we live in, everybody has their own views. But when it comes to windows, there is only one view that counts. Renewal by Andersen. Our entire process is different, from the initial hassle-free in-home visit to the quick professional installation and thorough cleanup to years beyond with an extensive warranty. We'll make it painless and easy. Call now for a free informative DVD and brochure. We'll get it right to you and then answer any questions you may have.
Renewal by Andersen. We love our new windows.
Wildcats are out rebounding Texas 11-7 and lead 9-6 on the scoreboard. All season long, Champion Apparel is showcasing the tradition and history of the Big 12 Conference. And today, we take a look at the history of the Irwin Center. Opened in November of 1977. 16,755 are seated here to watch college basketball. Very first game ever was Texas against Oklahoma. Texas is now on a streak where they have won 19 straight home games. And how about this? I was looking up some numbers under Rick Barnes. The Longhorns are 147-18 at home. And in the last 7 years, they're 106.
That's awesome.
That's unbelievable.
That is some home court dominance.
They've lost 6 home games in the last 7 years. So you look at it, the all-time record, 89 losses with 372 wins, but it has been an unbelievable last 11 years for Texas with Rick Barnes.
Well, that 19-game home winning streak is 3rd in the country right now behind first Kansas with 35. How about Notre Dame? Had a 45-game winning streak at home and then lost 2 in a row this week.
Jayhawks, by the way, are playing a home game today against the Colorado Buffaloes. In fact, that game going on right now.
Good chance that streak will go to 36.
I would think so.
Good move.
Nice little drop step, and he's fouled by Atchley. Well, he was moving all over the place, and Atchley finally commits the foul.
You know, Darren Kent, the only senior on this Kansas State roster, and nice job up and under and pivoting and keeping his foot down and not traveling. And Darren Kent has been in double figures 3 out of the last 4 games and is a good free throw shooter, 76%.
You jinxed him. Still a 1-point Wildcat lead. They scored 7 straight points in this contest.
It's interesting. Frank Martin was talking to you and I about the confidence of his team, and he said, you know, really, we've played really well. We just are young, and we started out with that brutal schedule, and we lost our confidence. And he said, I felt like at that Missouri game, we kind of got our swagger back, and they're playing like that. They're playing confident here early in this game.
Their first 4 games really were tough in conference play, starting off the home game against Oklahoma, then they had to go to Kansas.
Then go to Nebraska, and then home for Baylor. That's 4 tough games for a young team.
Bounce back with a big win in overtime at Colorado, and then, of course, the win against Missouri, which really opened some eyes. Kent again, that time he walked. 10-10 our score. Phillips 66 is proud to be the presenting sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Next time you're on empty, easy. Just fill up with Phillips 66 gasoline. Specially formulated to clean fuel injectors, increase performance, and above all, help maximize mileage. It's hard-working gas. 2 hard-working teams out here today, tied at 10, nearing the 10-minute mark of this first half. With Rick Geddes and our entire Big 12 crew, I'm Dave Armstrong. Glad to have you courtside with us. Johnson, nice little fall away from the short corner.
Well, I tell you what, Gary Johnson gets better every time he steps on the basketball court. That's the first time I've seen him shoot that fall-away jump shot. And, boy, that was beautiful up over the outstretched arms of Luis Cologne.
Charge, Pullen lost sight of where he was on the court, and then Mason steps in front.
Watch Gary looking over his left shoulder, and then right shoulder, step away from the defense, and that high release. Boy, that's a beautiful move.
Really savvy, too, by Texas to recognize who Cologne was guarding, because Luis Cologne playing with 2 fouls right now, you know he's going to try to be a little careful.
And it's a nice adjustment, because coming into the game, what Rick Barnes wanted to do was isolate whoever Luis Cologne was guarding, take that man and go set on the ball screens, force big Luis to move his feet with A.J. Abrams or Justin Mason. But just like you said, with Luis Cologne with 2 quick fouls, suddenly Rick Barnes adjusts and attacks him inside of the paint.
One of the questions I would have for you, Reed, if you were in the studio, or for Brendan Manzer today, Big 12 studio at ESPN.com, is who is the best 6th man in this conference. I would have certainly given some credence to Gary Johnson.
Absolutely.
But now he is starting. Lacedarius Dunn is the first guy that comes to mind.
Now, you know, when Baylor played in Manhattan, Lacedarius Dunn knocked down 9 3-point field goals for 33 points. It would be awful tough to go with anyone other than Lacedarius, but I agree with you. Gary Johnson was in that conversation up to about 2 weeks ago.
Pullen might have gotten a hand out, but I don't know if Abrams did too. No, it's off of Pullen, and it will stay with Texas. Look at the Longhorns, how they started and then lately. It looks like they're getting better shots and have hit 5 of their last 6 to really right the ship. Abrams working off of the picks. Rebound, fought for, and it goes off K-State.
It's interesting. We'll watch as this game goes along how Kansas State defends A.J. Abrams. In practice today, they were pushing up on the screener and going behind the screens. For a guy that shoots as quick as A.J. Abrams, boy, you're just daring him to stand out there and shoot. And it'll be interesting to see if he starts knocking down some of those shots on the screens.
On Mason, now Johnson. Has it stripped by Samuels. Sutton picks it up. Now here comes Clemente. Clemente pulls up for a 2-pointer. Off the rim, no good. Rebound fought for. A scrum for the ball, and here comes James. And then he lost it. And he stepped on the sideline before a spectacular save. He goes into Wyatt Thompson, the radio voice of the Wildcats. Stan Weber over there replacing his computer. Damian James.
Got coffee on their lap. And Damian James makes such a flippant, lazy pass to Gary Johnson. He's lucky he went after it as hard as he did. Yeah, good hustle.
I would love to get the radio call of what Wyatt Thompson was saying with James in his lap.
So we're now joined by Damian James. Damian, what do you think the key to the first half is?
Rebounding without hesitation.
That's right. Turnovers.
Right now, the key for him is to get the blood off the elbow. Clemente trying to get free of Justin Mason. Clemente, that's a tough shot.
That is a really tough shot. A runner off of the wrong foot with Justin Mason right on him.
And Mason goes around him, but throws up an air ball. Squirts out. Who's got this one? That's a pinball out there. Pallone has it poked away. Varez Ward was all over the place.
Good pass.
Boy, that was a good pass and a nice catch. A good cut to the basket by Sutton.
Ron Anderson with a terrific pass, looked off the defender.
Inside Ashley is fouled.
Watch Ron Anderson catch that ball and find Dominique Sutton cutting to the basket. That's Jamar Samuels cutting to the basket. Now, that's a terrific pass. I was right the first time. Dominique Sutton.
So it's Ashley at the line. Great free throw shooter. So his lack of three-point shooting hasn't hurt his free throw shooting. In fact, he is now 20 of 22 on the year.
That's a great statistic. The problem is, here we are in the 19th game, and Connor Ashley has only shot 22 free throws.
You're right.
You know, he's relying too much on his jump shot, and he's getting frustrated because he's not knocking down his jump shot, and I'm afraid it's taken away from other aspects of his game.
Here's why both Reed and I say that Ashley is such a key to this team. When he is in double figures, the Longhorns are undefeated. When Ashley is in double figures, they're unbeaten, 21-0. But he's only been in double figures 3 times this year.
And not since November 30th.
Oh, unbelievable.
That is a long time for Connor Ashley not to be in double figures. I really think he's a key to how far this Texas team can go this year.
Texas still very, very good, Reed. I mean, obviously in the top 15. But I think they can move to that next echelon to be a great team. It's all Pittman there.
Well, and Connor Ashley spreads the floor for plays like that to Dexter Pittman. He knocks down some shots. Suddenly, Big Dex finds lots of room down there.
Brown, offensive rebound. Sutton back up. Ashley, a one-handed rebound. Nice job. And Abrams is in the right spot.
You box out in this game down there on the defensive end, you better make contact with your guy and keep pushing back because, man, people are crashing that offensive glass.
Pittman again trying to back in on Anderson. Look at that move. Wow.
We saw Dexter Pittman have the game of his career against Appalachian State, and since then, Dexter's not been very effective. This is the best I've seen him look in about a month.
No jokes here now. I broadcast games when his dad, Johnny Pittman, was playing. I'm telling you, Dexter is more athletic than his dad.
I believe that. Big
That's a
shot.
Two-pointer for Sutton.
That is just Dominique Sutton's 5th three-point field goal of the season.
Wow.
Boy, that looks smooth. That's the confidence we were talking about. Kansas State is playing with confidence.
Two-pointer there. Two-pointer for Dominique Sutton. Down to 6. Mason weaves through traffic, finds Ward open. No. And there's Clemente all by his lonesome for the rebound. Anderson did a good job boxing out. And Clemente with Anderson leading the way.
Boy, did you see him kind of ducking and bobbing and finding guys. When you come down the court, you better turn around and find the ball.
Sutton rips it away from Varez Ward. Abrams continues to struggle from three-point range. A.J. Abrams now 1 for 4 out there. Of course, the one set the record. And downtown, Freddie Brown gives Kansas State a 4-point lead.
43% from behind the three-point line for Fred Brown off of the bench this year. Well, that's a terrific percentage. Denis Clemente doing a good job chasing A.J. Abrams over those screens. Good call.
So Dexter Pittman trying to keep Texas close. It's Kansas State on a run despite this from Big Dex. We're back after this from your friends at Phillips 66.
Enter the Phillips 66 Big 12 basketball free throw giveaway at Phillips 66 today.
Game on. The doctor is in and he's about to operate.
Win a chance to shoot free throws and score free Phillips 66 gasoline, Big 12 championship tickets, or even $66,000. Work on your game. Then get in the game at your nearest Phillips 66. Because this year, there's up to $66,000 on the line.
Whatever.
Finest leather boots are at Big Phil's Boot Sacks.
For breakfast, try Chick-fil-A's tasty chicken biscuits, chicken minis, or breakfast burritos.
Stonehouse Animal Hospital has expanded, making it an advanced and unique center for compassionate pet care in Northeast Kansas. We've handpicked a team of veterinarians with special talents.
Stonehouse is open 24 hours a day for routine care and emergencies. Rest assured knowing if something happens with your pet in the middle of the night or you just need a checkup, there's always a veterinarian available ready to help.
Your pet deserves the love and support of the whole team at Stonehouse Animal Hospital, dedicated to helping your pet live a long and happy life.
Are you sure there are 60 slices of pepperoni on this Papa Murphy's Large?
Yes.
After further review, there are 60 premium pepperonis on this large pizza.
You can't dispute a pizza with fresh dough, real cheese, and fresh toppings. Now get a family-size meat sampler topped with 4 kinds of meat for only $9.99. Handmade fresh, home-baked great. That's Papa Murphy's.
66, we're watching with interest. Number 2 UConn hosting Providence. A.J. Price knocks it down for the Huskies. They lead 28-23 first half. And Kansas leads Colorado by 10 with 9 minutes to play first half. Back out to David Reed.
All right, thanks, Doug. And tell you what, Kansas, again, going for their 36th straight win at Allen Fieldhouse. Rick Barnes, his team has won 19 straight here at the Irwin Center. Not happy right now with Kansas State on a 7-0 run. That'll quench your thirst if you're Frank Martin.
Kansas State already with 7 offensive rebounds in the first half.
Brown had to double pump his shot with Abrams right in his face. Once you do that, you really lost your momentum. James. Oh, that would have been goaltending. It wouldn't have been good. That should have been goaltending.
Yeah, that's that new rule this year. Once the ball touches the backboard, you cannot touch it.
I mean, I know it was obviously not going to be there, but that doesn't matter. You can't make that distinction as an official. They missed one there. Pulling, nice. Cut inside to Anderson. It looks like the paint is now open on those cuts. Let's look at the no call again on what could have been a goaltending.
The ball's clearly off of the backboard, and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't going to go in, but it was going to hit the rim. I mean, it was going to hit the corner of the rim, and that's what Rick Barnes is saying right now.
He's making his case with Kelly Self, saying, you guys just missed that one, and Russ Springman, his top assistants, and that's twice. That's twice they've missed it. So here's Ron Anderson. By the way, Okay, he wasn't saying that. What he was saying is 2 fouls on Ashley. That's what he was saying.
Well, things are going good for Kansas State when Ron Anderson steps to the line and knocks down a free throw. He has struggled this year, just 46%, but you see that good field goal percentage.
So that's the definition for you of struggle.
46% from the free throw line?
That's atrocious. That's not struggling.
That's an epic battle.
Yeah. That puts you in the Johnny Pittman free throw shooting.
I knew you were going to bring up Johnny Pittman.
Yeah.
You need to write him an apology letter.
He was under 50% for his career.
He's going to be excited when Dexter finishes his career, so he doesn't have to hear that anymore.
Yeah, but Dexter's 76%.
Good defense by Kansas State.
Good switching by the Wildcats. Ballbay trying to get loose, and that was a telegraph pass, easily picked off by Kent. Now pulling. Takes it into the land of the Giants and had no one to throw it to. That's a classic case of a guard getting off his feet and not having a good idea. So Abrams looks on saying, was that pass to me? Well, the pass here is for our golf challenge. If you're a golfer, well, get involved. Go to ESPNGolf.com. Log on, ESPNGolf.com. Great ESPN National Golf Challenge.
I can't figure out what the problem is. Rick Barnes is upset about something. They've got him checking. Not sure what it is.
Well, it's Texas ball. I think. I don't know exactly what they're talking about here.
I think Frank Martin's got to be very pleased with the way his team has started this game.
Well, they're trying to figure out who made the last foul, whether it was Abrams or whether it was Gary Johnson. So it's on Johnson, not on Abrams. There, right there.
Well, I don't think they called that a foul.
That's not a foul, though.
Yeah.
They didn't call this a foul.
They threw it out of bounds.
That's not a foul there.
Not sure.
So that's not the foul there, folks, but there was an earlier play where they gave a foul to Abrams. They took it away from Abrams and gave it to Johnson, who now has 1 foul.
Boy, if I'm Kansas State right now, A.J. Abrams back in the game, I would sag off and make somebody else knock down jump shots.
Another missed shot for the Longhorns, who are now 7 of 19 from the field. That's just 37%. Kent, nice move.
Very nice. Dribbles left until he makes contact. Once he makes contact, the quick drop step over that right shoulder to create separation. That was a nice post move.
11 straight points, Reed, by the Wildcats. 11 straight. James, tough shot. Won't go. Fight for the rebound, and who do they have? It's Johnson again. Now that's his 2nd foul. So Johnson and the Longhorns frustrated right now as the Wildcats, they've got their claws out. 11 straight points by K-State.
It looks like nothing else on the road right now, proclaims GQ magazine.
Did you see that?
The interior positively oozes class, raves Car magazine. Slick and sensuous, boasts the Washington Times. The most striking VW in recent memory, declares...
Okay, I get it already.
I think we were in a car commercial.
Great things in your world. Spend some time in ours.
Everyday value menu, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I got a junior deluxe burger for $1.
Junior breakfast burrito.
Yeah, it's a great deal for $1.
I wish I knew that they had the everyday value menu, because I would have brought more than $1.
So you walk out of the house, you're like, this will do me for the day.
If it got my great-grandfather through the day, it should get me through the day.
Have you heard of inflation, by the way?
Yeah, it makes balloons go up.
The new everyday value menu at Sonic. Got $1? Then drive in for a variety of great food, like a junior breakfast burrito, or grab a junior deluxe burger for just $1. Sonic's new everyday value menu. All this for $1 each.
Shelter Insurance has covered a lot of miles and a lot of cars and drivers since 1946. We like knowing we have you covered, so you can just sit back and enjoy the ride. Seek shelter today.
Coming up in the Studio 66 halftime report, Oklahoma off to the best start in school history. We'll have all the Big 12 highlights. A top 5 team goes down. All the big highlights and scores from the top 25. And Brendan Manzer with some thoughts. Back out to David Reed.
Thanks, Doug. Look forward to your comments along with Brendan's at halftime. It's amazing that Oklahoma's off to their best start ever because they've had some great teams there. With Billy Tubbs and Kelvin Sampson and all the great teams they've had at OU. So for them to be 7-0 in conference play and 21-1 overall, that really says something. Rick Barnes' team, meanwhile, 4-1 overall. And he's not happy right now as Kansas State, with the last 11 points of this game. And the big news again continues to be rebounding, where Kansas State has out-rebounded Texas 17-13, but read more importantly 7-4 on the offensive glass.
Well, and that's why Kansas State looks up and they've got a 9-point lead because they're only shooting 36%, which normally you're not going to win on the road in the Big 12 shooting that percentage, but rebounding, keeping Kansas State in this game.
A 10-point Kansas State lead over the 12th-ranked Texas Longhorns.
Or Texas needs to get A.J. Abrams a shot bad this possession.
Mason, tough shot, no. Pittman up over the back of Anderson. That's a foul on Pittman.
I'll tell you what, Ron Anderson has been terrific here off of the bench for Frank Martin's Wildcats. He's done a good job rebounding, boxing out, and he's knocking down free throws.
4 for 4 from the free throw line and 4 rebounds in this game. So it's 4 on the floor for Ron Anderson. He came in when Luis Colon got into early foul trouble, but he has really matched up well, and maybe a little better matchup for K-State today.
You know, and he matches up better with Damian James and Gary Johnson, but right now he's doing a good job matching up with big Dexter Pittman. And Ron Anderson came into this game for Frank Martin just averaging 5 points and 6 rebounds.
Anderson 5 for 6 from the line. I mean, that's outstanding for him. Again, a guy under 50% for the year.
Well, Texas continues to struggle scoring points.
This could be the lowest scoring half of the season for Texas. Off of Kent, it'll stay with Texas.
Texas ball.
Abrams, been tough for him to get loose here today. He's just 1 of 6 from the field, and Rick Barnes sitting back in his chair wondering what kind of button he can push right now to get his team going. Look at pulling. He's right there, step for step with Abrams. James, and that won't go. Pittman, good rebound. Probably should have gone up with a shot. Instead tried to pass it inside. Look at Clemente with the ball. And then Pittman rips it down. Good speed by Dex to get down the court. Abrams. Mason. James, no. Pittman. And would have counted had it gone. I'm going to make another point again about Texas. With A.J. Abrams struggling from three-point range right now, with Connor Atchley struggling from three-point range right now, you're not going to get much three-point shooting this year from Justin Mason or Doge Balbe, your other 2 guards. So that means Texas, unless Connor Atchley can really get going or A.J. Abrams can really get going, they're going to be forced to really jam that ball inside.
Well, and that's exactly the way K-State's playing them right now. You saw Justin Mason up fake out at the three-point line. Justin Mason has only made 6 three-point field goals for Rick Barnes this year. You talk about Doge Balbe, 0 for 3. I mean, he's only attempted 3 three-point field goals this year. So if you're Kansas State, well, you just sag in that paint and you just dare them to knock down shots. And Frank Martin told us, he said, hey, look, if those guys jump up and knock down 5 or 6 three-pointers, they're going to beat us, but they're going to have to knock them down because we're going to make them shoot them.
Lane violation on K-State will allow Pittman to get another free throw here. Frank Martin, as he paces that sideline, has got to be thrilled right now, especially with this run that the Wildcats are on. And another lane violation. Well, this time it's on James.
It's just a lack of concentration.
They're smiling about maybe a make good there. Hey, this game brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
And Kansas State with an 11-point lead, shooting 30% from the floor.
Unbelievable. And again, it comes down to their rebounding. And they're getting to the line. It's a real jam in the middle now with Sutton and Mason, and then Sutton with another offensive rebound. He can't get it to go. Anderson trying to keep it alive, and Pittman finally puts his paws on it. Nearing the 2-minute mark, Texas has gone ice cold. The last field goal for Texas came at the 7:39 mark. Clemente. And a timeout for Rick Barnes. He's beside himself right now. He's just motioning down the bench. Get somebody in there to help me, please. Kansas State with 16 straight points for the Wildcats.
Texas right now with 12 turnovers, and the last 2 have been careless. Dojbal Bay tried to catch that pass with one hand. You don't ever catch a basketball on the perimeter in a basketball game with one hand. And if you do, it's going to be a turnover. Careless, lack of concentration, and well, I tell you what, Rick Barnes is letting his team have it.
Well, you see Texas, that 19-game home win streak on the line, the 4th longest streak in the nation. The Jayhawks have the longest streak now with 35 straight, a 10-point lead over Colorado last we checked with our Studio 66. Looking to make it 36 straight. Kansas State up off the deck. They lost the first 4 games in conference play. They've won their last 2. And the last time the Longhorns lost at home, guess who did the trick? These Wildcats.
And that's the last time these Wildcats won a road game against a top 25 team.
The last 5.5 minutes has been all K-State. 16-0 in the last 5.5. Off the timeout, they called a good play to Pittman.
Interesting. Dexter Pittman stepped up to the elbow, and the defensive player went with him. And Dex goes up high. You better bet you're about to get a back screen, and he's going down to the post. Good execution out of that timeout.
Reed, if you're K-State right now, you kind of want to milk the clock a little. You want to make sure you got a double-figure lead going into the locker room, right? Oh, how about that play? Oh, and Anderson misses the chip shot. Great pass from Pullen. Ward.
Good defense.
No basket, offensive charge. Anderson came in to take it.
Well, when a big man rotates over to draw the charge, whoever he's defending needs to be diving to the basket. You see Dex is standing in front of the rim right where he's supposed to be, and Varez Ward just over-penetrated that time.
We look at Texas now. I know they've struggled offensively, but today the big reason, the turnovers. 13 of them in the first half. This is not a team that normally turns it over very often. And then as we speak of turnover, K-State with a loose possession.
K-State with just 5 turnovers. That was their 6th turnover in the first half.
Against a really good defensive team. And then a foul on Sutton. And log on to Big12Sports.com. Check out the Big 12 Network announcer blogs. This week, Brad Sham is going to write about the importance of defending the home court. And Stephen Howard tells us how some of the Big 12's biggest playmakers come in very small packages. That's Big12Sports.com.
Varez Ward to the free throw line. What a basketball game he had Tuesday night against Baylor. We talked about how much he frustrated Curtis Geralds on the defensive end, but then a perfect 6 for 6 from the free throw line Tuesday night.
Picks up where he left off.
You know what? There's no question Willie Warren is the most valuable freshman of the year in the Big 12, and mainly because of his offensive skills. If you were going to pick a freshman of the year on the defensive end, now Varez Ward is your man. He is quickly turning into one of the finest defenders in the conference.
Interesting. Clemente, you see the difference, about 1 second between the shot clock and the game clock, and then a foul here on Ball Bay. Now, don't forget, coming up at the half, Doug and Brendan will be bringing you Big 12 highlights, including Oklahoma's win against Iowa State. It looked like Hilton Magic there for a while, but then OU and Blake Griffin and Willie Warren, they come through. Another top 5 team goes down today, plus highlights from the top 25. And they'll have highlights as well from that Oklahoma State A&M game, plus Colorado and Kansas.
Well, I hope Brendan Manzer stretching right now because he's got to carry Doug Bell for at least one more segment.
Brendan,
Boy, it's nice
good
to
in the studio.
Well, he is
really
terrific in the studio.
Great job.
Boy, it is nice to be sitting in this seat throwing bullets at Doug Bell instead of receiving shots from you.
Clemente with those 2 free throws and a lead 11 again. This could be the last possession of this first half. Longhorns would love to get it under 10.
6 points below Texas's season low for a half. Just 21 points.
James has it stripped, but a foul first. You look at Texas shooting just 33%. In fact, both teams shooting 33%. But here's the key. Kansas State, and Rick Barnes knows this all too well, they've taken 9 more shots in this first half.
Turnovers.
Yeah.
Free throws, offensive rebounding, and turnovers have been the story of this first half.
By the way, the total rebounding is now tied at 19. So here's James at the line. 64% on the year. He'll shoot another.
Damian James has raised his season averages to 16 points and 8 rebounds, and those are really impressive numbers. He had a terrific basketball game, his best of the year Saturday against Texas A&M. 28 points, 7 rebounds, and it's just one off his career high, and then came back and had a double-double against Baylor, his 7th double-double of the year.
You see 5.7 seconds remaining in the half. Now 5 seconds, and that one goes off of Jamar Samuels. That gives the Longhorns one more crack at it. You see the shot clock turned off at 0-0. 5 seconds remaining in the half. Kent will check in, and Rick Barnes looks down, and he wants to get Dexter Pittman in for one more crack at it.
Now you put Dex in this situation for a baseline out of bounds to set a screen for A.J. Abrams, and if you help off, Dex will step in and seal you inside. Just like that.
Pittman throws up an air ball. Goes out of bounds with .9 on the clock. So one more chance for Texas. All Clemente really had to do there was just eat the ball and take a 10-point lead into the locker room.
Now, .9 is enough time to catch and shoot, but you got to get it out of your hands in a hurry.
He does, but well short for Damian James. How about Denis Clemente? 8 points in the first half, forcing all the turnovers for the Longhorns. Frank Martin has got to be thrilled. A 10-point lead at the half. As we get you to Doug and Brendan and Studio 66.
Dave, thank you. Welcome to Studio 66. You wouldn't know by his expression that Kansas State is up by that many by looking at Frank Martin. Nevertheless, though, I think defensively, we're looking at a K-State team that really has come alive defensively. They're stomping.
Well, Reed made a great point during the telecast right there about how they're making Texas rise over the top of them and knock down shots. And Frank Martin told his team, if they hit shots, fine, but do not let them get gaps by penetration and creating other things for their teammates. They're terrific on the offensive glass. They're winning the turnover margin battle. And notice I'm not saying that K-State has shot the ball great to be in this position. So maybe this young team is learning that take care of the ball, rebound, and defend. That's how you can win games on the road. So hopefully, and then I guess the question is, can they do it for 40 minutes?
All right, we'll see what happens. Last Big 12 loss for Texas at home, Kansas State 2 years ago. We'll talk about Kansas up next. Look at Bill Self. Yeah, his team is starting to make a move today at home against Colorado, the longest winning streak in the country. On the line.
Save big today.
Kansas State ended that first half in the last 7 minutes on an 18-5 run and have a 10-point lead at the half, 32-22. Hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong along with Reed Geddes. So, Reed, both teams shot 33% in the first half. There was only a 1 rebound differential. What was the difference?
Really early on, you and I were talking a lot about the offensive rebounding was the key to the game. But the end of the first half, no question, turnovers. Texas came into the game only averaging 12 turnovers per game. They had 13 turnovers in the first half. You can't win a basketball game turning it over like that.
They're not winning it right now as we check out the first half highlights brought to you by Shelter Insurance.
Yeah, only one highlight for A.J. Abrams. It was a big one. This was the record breaker, now the all-time three-point field goal record holder for the Big 12. And inside, Dexter Pittman, 6 points in just 10 minutes. The story of the first half really was Denis Clemente. He had 8 points, really did a good job controlling the tempo of this game. He was good in the offensive sets. He was terrific in transition. And again, the story for the Longhorns, turnover after turnover after turnover. There's one of the 13 in the first half for Texas.
So Clemente comes through. Our highlights brought to you by Shelter Insurance for your auto, home, and life. Seek shelter today. For the record, Texas 0-2 this year when they trail at the half. Kansas State 12-1 when they have the halftime lead. We'll see if that plays out here today from the Irwin Center in Austin, Texas. A 19-game home winning streak on the line for the Longhorns. Last team to beat them, Kansas State. A couple of years ago, K-State won here. Sutton fighting for that rebound and the foul against Sutton. Look at the numbers from that first half. And Clemente, the leading scorer. Pittman, the leading scorer for Texas. That wasn't in their game plan, I'm sure.
In just 10 minutes of action, I mean, I thought Dexter did a really good job coming in and changing kind of the tone of this game. And I would expect to see him get off of the bench early in the second half.
So in addition to rebounding this half, I think we're going to also watch for turnovers. Kent with the miss, and Texas continues to be ice cold. Clemente comes down, and with Texas's back to him, they never turned around and stopped the ball, and Clemente shot it right over him.
The speed of Denis Clemente, you have got to turn around in between half court and the top of the key and find him early in transition.
Mason, a nice save from Ashley.
Is there a faster kid in the conference than Denis Clemente?
Well, I'm thinking that maybe Ball Bay. I'd love to see a foot race between the two of them with the ball in their hand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yep. That's what's so amazing. They both seem faster with the ball.
And again, he throws one up off the rim. Clemente, nice hustle from Kent. Throws up a three. That worked out better for the Wildcats. Wow.
Yeah, a great start to the second half for Kansas State.
James just falls over. Somehow gets it to Mason. Abrams from three. Boy, that was well short. Gets his own rebound. Puts it back up. That was too long. You know that A.J. Abrams is off when he's that far off on 2 shots in a row.
He is now 1 for 8 in this game. Denis Clemente with the miss. Nice job hustling on the offensive boards. Look at Darren Kent go after that loose ball. And, boy, it pays off to hustle.
Right now it looks like, and maybe I'm wrong, Reed, they get a nice inbounds play. Cologne fell asleep on Johnson. But it looks like the 50-50 balls are going to the Wildcats.
Yeah, that's a bad sign for Texas because generally the team that picks up the most 50-50 balls that could go to either team that are decided by hustle, now the team that wins that battle usually wins a basketball game.
Clemente rarely walks it up the court. He did that time. Bad loose pass from Kent. It was tipped by Abrams. That's why it's not over and back. Now Pullen pulls up. That shot no good. Rebound. Look at Kent diving for the ball again. We've got a tie-up as Ashley falls on top of him and got a piece of the face of Darren Kent in the process.
Boy, he caught an elbow smack on the bridge of his nose.
You look at the first 4 games in the Big 12, and Frank Martin's team They shot just 38% from the field. The last two against Colorado and Missouri, they have really picked up the pace offensively.
But you almost need an asterisk after that first 4 games, because you need to say that's Oklahoma, that's at Kansas, at Nebraska, and Baylor at home. And, well, you know, there are a lot of teams that are going to lose all 3 of those games.
4 of them, actually. Damian James.
That's right. Started 0-4 and then beat Colorado.
Right. And a 5-second violation. So Texas, hands on hips, cheering a little louder now. Maybe a little momentum has swung. Cologne comes back out. Remember, he didn't play much in the first half, was saddled with 2 quick fouls. Might not play much in the second half, coach's choice.
They got the first 2 fouls in about the first 30 seconds of this game.
Mason, the dish to Ashley was too low, or that would have been an easy basket.
Can't throw it at anybody's knees, especially a big guy.
And a timeout taken here by Rick Barnes with Texas with the ball. So he's telling Mason that exactly. Look, you got to pass it a little harder as Frank Martin studies his huddle.
Enter the Phillips 66 Big 12 basketball free throw giveaway at Phillips 66 today.
Game on. The doctor is in and he's about to operate.
Win a chance to shoot free throws and score free Phillips 66 gasoline, Big 12 championship tickets, or even $66,000. Work on your game. Then get in the game at your nearest Phillips 66. Because this year, there's up to $66,000 on the line.
Whatever.
Nobody gives you more power than Interstate Batteries. And we have a national warranty program with over 200,000 dealers to back it up. How do we make them so powerful? Now that's a secret. Get the battery with more power in it and the most power behind it. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
Everything on this everyday value menu is only $1.
I hear you,
Great
man.
deals, man. Junior Deluxe Burger, $1.
Chicken strip sandwich, $1.
Got the small tot for... Whoa.
Wow, this usually doesn't happen.
What was that?
The new everyday value menu at Sonic. Got a buck? Then drive in for a variety of great food, like a Junior Deluxe Burger, a chicken strip sandwich, or grab a delicious Junior Breakfast Burrito for just $1. Sonic's new everyday value menu. All this for $1 each.
We were kind of in the middle of something.
Yeah, what happened there?
Table awaits at the Blind Tiger Brewery and Restaurant.
Come to the Blind Tiger, Topeka's award-winning brewery, and choose from a dozen handcrafted beers.
Beer brewed for every mood.
There's something for everyone at the Blind Tiger, a delicious original. Bring the family. Enjoy steak, pasta, seafood, killer barbecue, and mouth-watering sandwiches. With great food and a variety of choices for the kids, you can relax at Topeka's favorite destination.
If you get spoiled by the taste, blame us. Blind Tiger Brewery and Restaurant, 37th in Kansas.
Up 37-28, the famous shoes and legs of the best cycler in history, 7-time Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong. It makes one of his homes anyway here in the Austin area, on hand with his son Luke. So it's good to have the Armstrongs here.
Okay, tell your Rick Barnes story.
Oh, I love it. Rick Barnes was telling us he's really into cycling, and he was telling us last year that he was out on the bike path last year, and he said, oh, yeah. I said, you ever see Lance Armstrong? He said, yeah, I passed him this morning on the bike trail. And we both went, you passed him? And he said, well, yeah, he was going the other way.
Man, I love that story. You and I both went, he passed Lance Armstrong on a bike?
He's going the opposite direction.
That's a classic.
And he said it so deadpan.
Oh, yeah, he's serious. Oh, yeah, I passed him.
Well, right now it's Kansas State passing Texas. They did it with that big run in the first half. Nothing happening for the Wildcats there, so Pullen goes around to screen. Now Pullen pulls up in the paint. That won't go. Kept alive, though, and Pullen able to get it back.
That ball kept alive by Ron Anderson. I thought he had such a good first half for Kansas State.
I agree with you. I think he was one of the absolute key contributors. He, along with Clemente, I think really stole the show for the Wildcats. Samuels, nice dish. Can't get it to go. Misses a chip shot inside. Mason. Oh, my goodness. He throws up an air ball of a layup.
Well, even on a reverse layup, you need to use the backboard.
Clemente, three-pointer. Count it for the Wildcats. And it's a 12-point K-State lead, their biggest of the game.
Wow. I didn't see this one coming, partner.
I didn't either. Mason, he's able to get free of Clemente. Of K-State play well, Reed, that's when the Wildcats are really good. And the guards, especially Denis Clemente, have played really well. Clemente, another three. Got it! He's feeling it now! Denis Clemente with back-to-back trays for the Wildcats.
19 points for Denis Clemente.
And now a 13-point lead. Stripped away by Kent. James gets it back. Strong arms it to the hoop, where he is fouled by Anderson. So Denis Clemente for the Kansas State Wildcats with 19 points. A three-pointer here. He follows it up with yet another tray. And the Wildcats off to their biggest lead of the game, leading the 12th-ranked Longhorns at home.
In the islands, tropical flavors bring out the best in fresh seafood. At Red Lobster, we're bringing new island-inspired entrees to you, like tender wood-grilled Caribbean rock lobster and shrimp, brushed with a sweet and spicy glaze. New Hawaiian Isle shrimp and salmon, and new wood-grilled citrus rum shrimp and scallops, flame-seared to seal in the juices. Wood grilling and the flavors of the islands, a whole new way to love seafood. For a limited time at Red Lobster.
Living in Cramples Gap, there's really nothing much to do but work. People work hard. Everybody's got to work hard. Got to survive. I think everybody needs a break.
And welcome to Las Vegas.
We're going to tear it up, dude. Drink some drinks, try and get some ladies, burn it down, leave ashes.
This is awesome. This trip has been one of the best experiences of all time.
Be a real balancing act. And the more things are up in the air, the more you could use a good insurance agent. Auto, home, life. Seek shelter today.
Available on DVD now. Discover the critically acclaimed film.
It was everybody else, and then there was us.
About basketball's unknown legends.
I was going to rise above that.
Who changed the game forever.
There was a new game in town called integration.
When they throw the ball up, we all equal. We just gotta have a dream. We gotta hold on to the dream.
Over an hour of bonus features. Own the 2-disc collector's edition today.
Well, the Longhorns are having a tough time today with Kansas State giving them all they can handle. The Wildcats up 13. Why? That guy is a big reason. Denis Clemente. You look at the 13 wins for K-State, their guards have dominated. In their 7 losses, their guards have been abysmal. Well, today, especially Denis Clemente, he has been tough. Pullen, not so much. 1 for 8 in the game, but Clemente, Reed, 7 for 13 from the field, including 3 for 3 on three-pointers.
Well, perfect from the free throw line. He's got 3 assists. He's got a steal. And really, Denis Clemente has been the story of this basketball game so far.
Now Damian James at the line. And today, Texas, they've struggled even there. They're now 6 of 11 from the line today. An upset in the making as the Wildcats lead the 12th-ranked Longhorns. Last time the Longhorns lost on their home court was 2 years ago to these Wildcats. Texas won in Manhattan last year when Kansas State had Walker and Beasley. So Balbe comes in to hound Denis Clemente. I bet you Rick Barnes challenged him and said, look, I don't care if you score a point. You just go stop that guy.
I agree. That's what he should have said.
Anderson out to Clemente. Balbe, he snuck inside.
He left him. He went to help out. And when you've got a guy shooting like Denis Clemente is, you don't help off of him ever. You just go face guard him and do not let him catch the ball.
3 straight threes for Denis Clemente. Dish inside, and Pittman jams it home. Nice pass. Damian James with a nice play.
Well, Ron Anderson
lead.
Ron Anderson thought he drew a charge. He was standing too far into the basket, but he came up limping coming down the court.
Clemente again. Oh my, is he hot? 4 straight threes in the second half. That's why the Wildcats are standing and applauding.
Dojbal Bay is chasing him off of screens, and he is not getting on his outside shoulder. As a result of that, as Denis Clemente turns behind a screen, Dojbal Bay's getting wiped out.
Denis Clemente today with a career-high 25 points. Twice when he played for Miami, he scored 24. The most he'd ever scored in a Wildcat uniform was 20 against Gardner-Webb. Well, 25 today, and a well-deserved break.
Well, he has been terrific, and down there running off of those screens. And credit Frank Martin. I mean, Denis Clemente is the point guard. He's on a roll, and so Frank shifts him down to the baseline, pulls Jacob Pullen out to the point, and trying to get Denis Clemente some more shots. Nice adjustment by Frank.
Well, right now, Clemente, he's sitting over on the bench.
Well, for K-State, they suddenly look like Texas when A.J. Abrams is out. You wonder who's going to score if Denis Clemente's sitting over there on the bench.
And Pullen misses a layup. Here's Abrams. He struggled today. Abrams just 1 of 10 from the field. Of course, that one was the record breaker, but he's missed the other 9 shots he's taken. Mason would have counted had it gone. Is fouled here by Pullen. Well, look at Denis Clemente in the second half.
4 3-point field goals. He's done them in a variety of ways. He's coming off the screens. They're finding him in the sets, and look how far off Denis Clemente Dojbal Bay is. That makes no sense at all. And here he is coming off the screen. And boy, when you give him time to catch the ball and turn and collect himself, well, that's just not very good defense when you've got a kid knocking down shots like Clemente is.
Mason, not a good free throw shooter, misses the first one. Clemente, I was looking too at that package, Reed, and he didn't even hit anything but the bottom of the net with those 3-pointers. Clemente here in the second half. Kansas State has scored 17 points, and Clemente has all of them. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
Clemente has scored every point for the Wildcats.
I would be willing to bet he doesn't sit over there on the bench very long.
I was going to say, they're taking him out. I know they have the next media timeout here in about 30 seconds. And I'll bet you he's back in after that timeout. Pullen goes into the land of the Giants, and again, didn't have a good idea. Cologne, though, able to get it back.
Another Texas turnover.
So Texas has now turned it over 15 times in the game.
Those turnovers are not a result of traps or full court pressure, just good man-to-man defense by Kansas State.
And a 5-second call. Pullen fell asleep a little bit, and Frank Martin's not happy about that. He'll be happy, though, to get Denis Clemente back in the game now after this timeout, because Clemente is the hottest player in the game. The hottest player, I dare say, in the state of Texas. Denis Clemente leading the Wildcats.
Headed out of town for the game? You don't need fancy tricks to get a clean, comfortable room for the lowest price of any national chain. Just book online at motel6.com. Nice move. We'll leave the light on for you. Official economy lodging partner of the Big 12.
For breakfast, try Chick-fil-A's tasty chicken biscuits, chicken minis, or breakfast burritos.
Enough male bonding for one day?
Dude, nasty.
A clean, comfortable room for the lowest price of any national chain is coming right up.
Gross.
Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you.
Waiter! This soup is terrible. It's too cold.
Sir, you ordered the chilled lobster bisque.
Well, my wife's water is too warm. I specifically asked for 6 ice cubes.
There is a hair on my napkin.
My beef tartare is undercooked.
The table next to us is too noisy.
There are children in here.
There are bubbles in my champagne.
Everything is wrong.
Powerball. With better odds, bigger jackpots, and $1 million when you match 5 with Power Play, it could change everything.
America's greatness was not crafted in skyscrapers alone, but on the ground by those who could see what needed to be done. Volunteers who in service stepped forward onto the dust of the moon, the levee in the heartland, the marble steps of a dream. You may ask yourself, where's my moon, my levee, my dream? Well, it's here, with you. Step forward. Help renew America at usaservice.org.
Well, Denis Clemente with not only all the 17 points for K-State in the second half, but he is also now getting help from his teammates.
Yeah, we're going to freeze it right here. Watch what you should not do when you're chasing a shooter. Dojbal Bay gets on the inside shoulder instead of the outside. When you're on the inside, look what happens to you as a shooter runs off of the screen. He's on the inside, he's chasing, bam! Suddenly you are screened. You have got to put your head and your body on that outside shoulder, and then there's nothing for the screener to hit.
Is there any responsibility at all, Reed? Is there any responsibility? And I'm surprised to see Clemente still sitting right now, to be honest with you. Is there any responsibility by the Texas teammate of Ball Bay to say, hey, screen is coming?
Oh, absolutely. They should be calling it out and screaming and not allowing him to curl. But that situation right there was totally Dojbal Bay not getting on the outside shoulder.
Well, the foul on Mason before he tried the jam. So the foul on Mason, his first. The only thing I can think with Clemente on the bench right now is Frank Martin, with this comfortable lead, feels like he can rest him. And then Samuels goes into Pittman and draws the foul.
Texas foul charge to number 34, Dexter Pittman.
From the Irwin Center in Austin, Texas, it's Big 12 basketball on the Big 12 Network, presented by Phillips 66. It's the 12th-ranked Longhorns being upset by Kansas State right now with Reed Geddes and our entire Big 12 crew. I'm Dave Armstrong courtside. Samuels with the free throw to make it 50-35.
Commend to Frank Martin for getting this season turned around. And, 0-4 is too early to start panicking. But when you have a young team and you start out 0-4, you just never know what's going to happen with the psyche when you have a team that has this many freshmen and sophomores.
Well, how many eyebrows would be raised with this result this weekend? Not just in the Big 12, but across the country. Coupled with the big win over Missouri on Wednesday, and then if they can hang on and win this one, and there's still a long way to go, but if they could, my goodness.
Well, and your point is valid. It's not just the big win over Missouri, it's dominating Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat them solid.
And they're beating Texas solid right now, and they've gone into a zone. Backdoor cut for James. Good pass, good play. Inside, not there for Cologne. So Brown Clemente steps back, and he's able to hit a jumper over Varez Ward. Right now, Kansas State able to match bucket for bucket. Another baseline play. Ward was bumped before the pass.
Kansas State number 15, Denis Clemente.
Oh, nice dive to the basket by Damian James, and that's the way Damian should play. Instead of standing out there on the perimeter and trying to spot up for jump shots, boy, he ought to constantly be finding gaps and diving to the basket.
What I noticed there too, Reed, was Dexter Pittman really screening off inside. He did a great job to free up the space on the baseline.
But you know, I think going to a zone is a good idea if you're Kansas State, especially when A.J. Abrams is on the bench. But if you do that, you got to collapse inside and just dare Texas to make outside shots.
Pittman was tripped up a little bit as he was going to the basket, and in fact comes up limping just a little bit. Today's Big 12 game is brought to you by Sonic's new everyday value menu. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Denis Clemente back in the game. Boy, I would move Pullen to the point, and I would continue to run Clemente down along that baseline.
Damian James with the foul. That'll be 4 team fouls on Texas this half. The second on James.
And the 4th team foul.
Texas needs some leadership right now.
Yeah,
Rick Barnes needs somebody to come along and slap some rear ends and get people playing.
Well, just seeing the hands on hips there from James, it's just the body language not good for the long run.
I agree.
Kansas State, it is a 30-second timeout.
So a timeout taken by Kansas State. Phillips 66 is proud to be the presenting sponsor of Big 12 basketball. The next time you're on empty, fill up with Phillips 66 gasoline. Specially formulated to clean fuel injectors, increase performance, and above all, help maximize mileage. It's hard-working gas. Rick Barnes wants his team to work hard here as we take a look at our Big 12 notebook. Kansas State leading it 53-37. And you look at some news and notes. 11 Big 12 teams with a 500 or better record. The only one not is Colorado. And you look at Oklahoma and Kansas. They're both undefeated in conference play. Oklahoma 7-0 now in conference play. Kansas trying to go to 6-0. How about Blake Griffin? Another game, Reed, in which he had more than 20 points and 15 rebounds.
Now, the record was 9, held by Paul Millsap of Louisiana Tech and Tim Duncan of Wake Forest, and 11 games now at least 20 points and 15 rebounds for Blake Griffin. Absolutely a historical season.
Clemente being hounded by Ward. Clemente with a floater. Finally misses a basket. Texas is like, I can't believe the guy missed. Abrams. He tries a three. Maybe that'll get him going.
Boy, how bad did Texas need that jump shot?
And then a foul. Either James or Ward.
Rick Barnes is going to get a technical. He's trying to get a technical.
It is on Damian James.
Texas foul.
Boy, that is as mad as I've seen Rick Barnes in several years.
I agree.
He's trying to get his team to play hard. They came out. They got a good trap. He is furious. Duke Etzel's yelling at him. I don't understand why the official's yelling. Just call a technical or don't call a technical.
And then a timeout taken by Darren Kent. They didn't have the right play called on the inbounds play. Oh, he's going to say, come on over here. I got some more words I want to say. Now, watch this with Duke Etzel.
I don't agree with that. I mean, if you're Duke Etzel, I walk away from that, but you sure don't need to stand down at the end of the court and yell back and forth.
So cooler heads prevail. I'm a little surprised by that too. I don't think I've ever seen an official sprint toward a coach to get into the melee there. And you know, I know, hey, Duke Etzel is a very senior official.
Yeah, but walk away.
Yeah.
And the problem was he was standing down on the baseline, and he's yelling back at Rick Barnes. You just, no reason for that. I'm not so sure Rick wasn't trying to get a technical.
I agree with you.
I mean, get a technical. He made a nice play. They got a nice steal. See if you can do something to get some emotion into this game.
Well, and this is still well within range. Now, here's what he's mad about right here. There's right there, I didn't see much contact, and then a foul called on Damian James, and that's why Rick Barnes was upset.
Well, and the problem is, if you'd have called riding him, then maybe, but that's not what he called him. He said he slapped down on his hand.
Now taken away by Johnson. And then stripped by Pullen. Trying to find the handle. Clemente, he's everywhere. And then Samuels with the follow.
Man, the hustle of Jamar Samuels, but how about Jacob Pullen out here hustling, diving after that ball?
Another turnover too, Reed, for Texas. James has it swatted away. It'll stay with the Longhorns.
Now the hustle right here. Watch Pullen knock that ball loose and then go to the floor trying to keep control of it, and just great hustle. And again, the point you made, 50-50 balls going to Kansas State.
Yeah, you're right. And here's the other thing, Reed. 18 turnovers today for Texas. But Kansas State is creating those turnovers. They've made 11 steals here today. Nice play there by Abrams. He tries a three. Oh, that would have been huge. James with the offensive putback. And he is fouled. A little more energy the last couple of possessions for the Longhorns.
Well, 18 turnovers for Texas. That's the season average for Kansas State. Coming into this game, they were forcing opponents into 18 turnovers per game. Oh, a lot of ball on that.
Now James going to the line. You're right. James a 64% free throw shooter on the year. Today he's 3 of 4. The team 8 for 14. Each team with 5 team fouls in the second half. And here come Dominique Sutton and Ron Anderson. Luis Colon comes out along with Darren Kent. A smaller, quicker lineup for Frank Martin now.
Well, if I'm Frank, I get Denis Clemente and I put him back down on the baseline. He's taken a couple of runners and 4 shots, and that's not where he was so effective in scoring all those points. He was effective coming off screens, catching the ball, turning, and knocking down shots.
13-point game with just over 9 minutes going. They try for the home run ball to Samuel, and it's blocked by Ashley. Wow, what a play. James. And a blocking foul on K-State. What a block at the other end by Connor Ashley.
Well, for the last 3 years, Connor Ashley's been as good a shot blocker as there is in the Big 12, and terrific hustle. He was beat on this play. Great hustle to get down and a clean block. Boy, that is the defensive play of this basketball game. It's amazing what hustle can do to turn around momentum in a basketball game.
He is one of the leading shot blockers in the conference and always has been. So even though his offense is struggling, he still is blocking shots. A lot of times he comes from the weak side. That time it was all him. And then a holding call on Darren Kent trying to keep Gary Johnson out of the paint. You look at Ashley nearing the 200 mark of most career blocks. Chris Mim, of course, a 7-footer. So 7 team fouls now on the Wildcats. That'll put Johnson at the line, shooting a 1-and-1. Johnson 1 for 3 from the line today.
I asked you a question earlier before the broadcast, who you thought the most improved player was in the Big 12 this year, and I was kind of fishing for Gary Johnson, and you came up with the name Cole Aldridge, which I certainly agree with, but boy, 1B has got to be Gary Johnson.
I would think so too. Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of knew you were fishing for that.
I appreciate you backing me up. You kind of left me out on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole, that's a good choice. Who's next you'd pick? Well, you know, Gary Johnson's a sophomore, and last year the freshman season was short because of the heart condition starting the year, and then he broke his nose, and really his first full season. And, boy, he's been terrific.
Clemente trying to break the pressure down the sideline, and a bump down that sideline by Abrams. Ooh, it's getting a little physical out here.
It sure is.
Don't forget to register for the National Golf Challenge, already underway. For more information, log on ESPNGolf.com. It's got to get physical for Texas. And Kansas State needs to realize on the home court of the Longhorns, they're not just going to go quietly. They've got to be ready to withstand this push by the Longhorns.
Well, they didn't accidentally win 19 in a row at home.
Shot clock down to 10. Three-pointer from Owen. That goes for Freddie Brown. A huge shot for the Wildcats.
For a perfect possession for Kansas State.
And then Brown with a steal. It was off his hand last. No, went off of Varez Ward last. Another turnover, make it 19 for Rick Barnes' Longhorns.
Texas came into the game only averaging 12 turnovers per game.
Unbelievable. That's been the real storyline here today. I think if we ask both coaches again after this game, in addition to rebounding, they would say turnovers are going to be a big factor in this contest. It certainly turned out that way. Clemente, is he still hot? He is! Wow! And it's a 17-point lead for Kansas State. Johnson buries one from the top of the key. A two-pointer.
Well, you've seen Kansas State a lot this year, partner. Have you seen them play with this much confidence?
Not since Missouri. They played like this Wednesday night. But to do it on the road, away from your home crowd, this is really impressive.
Against the number 12 team in the country. Good defense.
And a charge. Another turnover for Texas. Denis Clemente leading the way for the Wildcats here today. A career-high 28 points. Back after this from your friends at Phillips 66.
Enter the Phillips 66 Big 12 basketball free throw giveaway at Phillips 66 today.
Game on. The doctor is in and he's about to operate.
Win a chance to shoot free throws and score free Phillips 66 gasoline, Big 12 championship tickets, or even $66,000. Work on your game. Then get in the game at your nearest Phillips 66. Because this year, there's up to $66,000 on the line.
Whatever.
Nobody gives you more power than Interstate Batteries. And we have a national warranty program with over 200,000 dealers to back it up. How do we make them so powerful? Now that's a secret. Get the battery with more power in it and the most power behind it. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
I think I'm getting something off the everyday value menu.
Yeah, me too, man. Everything's only $1.
It's like $1's not $1. You can almost rename the dollar. Look at, like, this $1 is not $1.
Okay.
It's chicken strip sandwich, or
Yeah,
this $1 is Junior Deluxe Burger,
Okay.
or this is like Junior Sunday, or this is Little Teacher.
All right, this is annoying. You're stealing all of my money.
The new everyday value menu at Sonic. Got a buck? Then drive in for a variety of great food like a Junior Deluxe Burger, or grab a chicken strip sandwich for just $1. Sonic's new everyday value menu. All this for $1 each.
Get your game up to par, and maybe even under it, with ESPN Golf Schools presented by American Express. One-day programs offered in over 50 cities for players of all skill levels. Sign up today and receive a $400 Callaway Golf gift card. Enroll with your American Express card and get an extra $50. Log on to ESPNGolfSchools.com or call 1-800-642-5528.
From Studio 66, much closer than expected in Lawrence, Colorado on an 11-0 run. Jermel Jackson-Wilson picks up the loose ball, puts it down. That made it a 2-point game. Morning Star has answered, but 57-52, 6 minutes to go. Dave?
Wow, Doug, that is a lot closer than expected it again. Kansas trying to keep pace with Oklahoma, who's 7-0 in conference play now. The Jayhawks trying to get to 6-0 and win their 36th straight at Allen Fieldhouse. Colorado, they bounced back from that overtime loss to Kansas State with a win against Iowa State. And the Cyclones right now at 1-5. Texas A&M, they're starting to make a move.
Yeah, they are. They went through that tough stretch a lot like Kansas State did early in the season. They were 1-4 and 2 good wins at home this week. And boy, that's a house divided right there.
Ooh, that sure is. And you see who was smiling the broadest. The gal wearing that K-State shirt.
always found in my house that mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Maybe not all bad news for that guy.
I think your house is typical. 11 turnovers for K-State, 20 for Texas. Clemente, how good is he with the ball? How good has he been today? 30 points for Denis Clemente. And Varez Ward comes coast to coast.
I don't understand if you're Texas. Denis Clemente's got 28 points,
30
and
now.
he dribbled the ball 40 times and ended up shooting a layup for his 30th point. And I don't understand that. I mean, somebody's got to rotate over and get him. Look at that, dribbles all the way in. He started at half court in front of you and I. Dribble, 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 layup.
But then why Frank Martin was upset, in transition defense, no one picked up Clemente, and that allowed Varez Ward to go all the way to the basket. Then he missed the free throw.
Well, you got a game this close, and they're battling the way they are. You don't expect to see layups on either end of the court.
That's right. Now if you're Kansas State, do you start to play with the clock at all?
Absolutely. That's what they've done the last 3 or 4 possessions. They've just run the clock, got a layup. No time before that, they got a three-pointer.
And then Pullen goes out of bounds. He was trapped over along the sideline and then went out of bounds. So make it 12 turnovers for Frank Martin's team, who's not happy about that development. 6:27 to go. Kansas State trying to beat Texas and become the first team to beat the Longhorns on their home court since 2 years ago when the Wildcats turned the trick.
Well, what a job Jacob Pullen has done on A.J. Abrams.
Abrams, that was partially blocked, I believe, by Anderson, and then a whistle and a foul. They're walking the other way. This one's going to be called on Varez Ward.
That is his 3rd.
3 on Ward now.
Now, when you play A.J. Abrams, the scouting report is you have to drive him. You have to turn him into a driver. You cannot let him shoot jump shots. So you overcommit to the jump shot, make him penetrate, and then count on Ron Anderson and your other big guys to rotate over.
How about Abrams though today? 2 of 14, 2 of 14 from the field, 2 of 8 from three-point land. Anderson misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Each team with 18 fouls in this contest.
A lot of times when you see numbers like that, you think, oh, the shooter's having a bad day. Jacob Pullen is making him have a bad day.
So Abrams answers with a three-pointer. Now it's a 12-point game. And the pressure still comes.
All 10 players in the backcourt. Normally, when you're playing man-to-man and someone's pressuring you in all 10, somebody's going to streak long.
No one guarding the inbounds pass. Pullen has to give it up for Kent. Now back to Pullen. He weaves across the timeline. Pullen on the give and go from Brown. Kent tries to jam it home. Here comes Abrams. The smallest guy in that fray comes out of there with it. Abrams. High off the glass. Counted and one.
Well, if you're going to make A.J. Abrams be a driver, the defense has got to rotate over. You see how Ron Anderson's shoulders are? They're completely opened up to the basket. When a guy's coming at you, you need to step in front of him, square your shoulders up, and play defense with the middle of your chest, or else you're going to foul him and he's going to the free throw line.
Reed, I was thinking earlier, you were saying somebody's got to start stepping up, be the emotional leader of this team. Right now, it looks like it's A.J. Abrams.
That's who you would expect to do it. That's who you would want to be your leader if you're Rick Barnes.
Clemente to Kent, over to Brown. Good decision by K-State. Use the clock. Clemente, he pulls up another floater. The guy can't miss. Denis Clemente.
You see him lower his left shoulder and bump Justin Mason to create that separation.
And then Mason with a nice pass. And the flush home by Damian James.
Boy, Darren Kent was awful close to drawing a charge on Justin Mason after that pass. Boy, we got us a game. This might be the most intensity of any game I've done this year.
Kansas State trying to hold on to this big lead. Texas trying to roar back, and they're doing it. Timeout. Another turnover for the Wildcats, and Ward able to flush it home.
Defense, 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 and that's what's turned this game around. You pointed out the shooting and the baskets by A.J. Abrams, but boy, you talk about Texas cranking up the pressure. That was a terrific trap. You know what? If you're Frank Martin, maybe you need to start looking to get shots quicker.
Yeah.
They've started slowing it down, and they're taking more time. They've a little bit gotten out of their offensive rhythm, and if I'm Frank, I'm not so sure I don't move pulling back to the point. I run Denis Clemente off of those screens, and I look to pick the tempo back up.
Well, the Longhorns are flying here at the Frank Irwin Center, and now this Frank Martin, trying to come up with some answers for the Wildcats because Texas on a 12-2 run over the last 2:25.
But you know, you pick up the tempo if you're Frank Martin. It's a double-edged sword. If you start taking quicker shots, then that gives Texas quicker opportunities to score. And, you know, it's a tough coaching decision. But the last 3 minutes, he's been milking the clock, and it has not worked. Clearly, momentum has shifted in favor of Texas. And if I would come out of this timeout and I would start pushing the ball again.
Well, certainly Texas feels like now they're definitely a part of it. Remember when they were down 17 just a moment ago, and now here it is, a 7-point game. In fact, this is as close as this game has been since the 5:06 mark of the first half. But certainly the crowd is back into it, and this full court pressure has worked for Texas.
Boy, and how much has the body language of the Texas Longhorns changed?
By leaps and bounds. And another timeout. It's the last one by K-State. Wait a minute, they didn't get it. A 5-second call. They didn't get the timeout.
Interesting adjustment by Rick Barnes. He's got Damian James guarding the inbound passer. Damian James with those long arms and athleticism. He's making it difficult to see an open player. Nice adjustment by Texas.
Then instead of using Jacob pulling a small guy inbounding, and maybe you go to a Darren Kent.
That's what I would do.
James, that would have counted had it gone. A foul here on Kent.
But, you know, Texas went from bad body language, not hustling, not picking up 50-50 balls. Now suddenly Rick Barnes looks up at the score and says, that's the way I expect my kids to play.
You know what it all is, and it's in basketball and it's in life. It's one word, confidence.
I agree. And that's what Frank Martin said to us over and over again today. It's all about confidence. And, boy, wouldn't you love to make a living with your career depending on the confidence level of 18 and 20-year-olds. Talk about a tough way to make a living.
Well, log on to Big12Sports.com. Check out the Big 12 announcer blogs. And this week you'll hear from Brad Sham and Stephen Howard. These will be the two guys blogging this week. I'm back in the saddle next week, as are you pretty soon, right?
Pretty soon. I'm right after you in the batting order. I'm batting cleanup.
I'm going to be blogging next week about the wow moments in the first half of this Big 12 conference season.
Early on, 10 minutes ago, I'd have told you you had a wow moment right here.
We've got one for sure, and it's certainly developing. It continues to develop. Clemente really pressured in the corner. Comes out of there with it. Now the numbers favor the Wildcats, and Clemente takes it to the rack. His 34th point.
But see, that's just what we talked about. Suddenly they're pushing the ball.
And then they push it right back. And that's what Texas is doing. It's like we're going to create a frenzy here, and that has worked.
Well, Ron Anderson did a good job getting back on defense, but this is exactly what I thought the Wildcats should do. Quit holding the ball, quit running the shot clock down, get back into the rhythm and the sequence that got you this big lead, and that big lead's because of Denis Clemente.
Johnson can't hit the free throw, and today 15 of 23 from the line, the Longhorns. So they remain down 7. Ron Anderson will check out. It's going to be very important now for both these coaches to keep fresh bodies on the court. With the game being played at this frenzied pace, there are going to be some tired guys out there.
And Rick Barnes really not going to his bench much. I mean, these same 5 have been on the floor for about the last 8 minutes of this game.
Easier to play, though, and that could be a charge. Nope, they got Mason. I thought that Clemente might have lowered the elbow a little bit. But they're going to get Justin Mason with the foul.
Well, Rick Barnes is saying, hey, you called a charge on the other side of the floor. You need to make that same call. And, boy, I don't know. That was close. Denis Clemente clearly put his forearm out and put it into the chest of the defender. Is that a charge?
That's one of those 50-50 calls, you know, and it went K-State's way this time. And going to the line, where would K-State be without this guy today? Woo. Career high. 34 points. Front end of the 1-and-1 rattles home. And by the way, now 19 fouls on Texas, 10 on Kansas State. So both teams will be in the double bonus the rest of the way.
That was one of those calls, block charge, that makes you glad you're not official with some announcers over there watching it in slow motion.
Right.
That's a tough call.
Because it could have been, I mean, from one perspective, you can see it as sort of a flop by Mason.
Yep.
On the other perspective, you can see it as maybe an elbow there by Clemente. You can make a case both ways.
We got a shot clock down at the opposite end of the floor.
Yeah, it's working on the K-State basket. It's off there. That's the Texas basket.
Like Texas needs to worry about the shot clock right now?
I don't think the shot clock's a factor.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So they're looking for the plug. Getzel and Kelly Self over at officials scores table, trying to figure out what the dilemma here. Who does this favor right now to stop it?
I was just thinking that. You just made the point how important it is that these coaches keep their guys fresh. This is a freebie. I mean, this isn't a timeout charge to anybody, and they're all over there. Boy, a trainer needs to get out there and get some water to them and a towel, and this is a free timeout. I think this favors Rick Barnes because he's not substituting. He's going with the same guys, and I don't know if he will for the next 4 minutes, but, you know, these guys have battled and turned the momentum around in this game.
You know what? I was thinking just the opposite. I was thinking maybe it helps K-State, and I get your point, I do, but I was thinking that maybe K-State, a chance for them to catch their breath a little bit during this timeout and realize, all right, let's get back to what we were doing that got us the 17-point lead.
Well, that's a good point. You regain your composure. Frank Martin's got a chance to tell his guys, hey, look, boy, what a great place to be. I mean, is there anywhere else you'd rather be than right here, right now? And you got a chance to make our season. And, boy, it's an exciting opportunity for the Wildcats, and it's right there for the grabbing.
Now, let's see, where does that lead? Okay.
I wonder what this plug was.
One of those things there.
I told you not to pull that plug under your feet.
Let's see, that if we move this cord to here and then plug it into that outlet back behind this wall, maybe it'll work. Got to change the fuse, and now it's working again. Well, don't forget next week another great doubleheader of action for you, starting with Blake Griffin and Oklahoma hosting the Colorado Buffaloes, who are giving Kansas all they can handle. Then these Wildcats, they're on the road, and they've become tough on the road. They won in overtime against Colorado, now winning here at Texas. Clemente with a second of 2 free throws. That goes. So back to an 8-point advantage for Kansas State. Abrams, he kind of got this rally started. Missing there. Cologne with the rebound and a foul. They'll send Cologne to the line.
Texas foul charge number 5, Damian James.
That's on James. And 3 on Damian James. Start to look at who's in real foul trouble, and no one really is. There's only one player. Well, there's a few for Kansas State with 4, and that would be Sutton with 4, Anderson with 4, and Kent with 4. So those are the guys for the Wildcats. No one, though, for Texas with more than 3 fouls.
It's interesting. You immediately looked to see who was in foul trouble. I looked to say, who would I foul? And if you're going to foul anybody for Kansas State, it's Luis Cologne. He only shoots 56% for the season. I guarantee you during that last non-timeout where Rick Barnes was talking to his guys, he says, look, if Cologne gets a rebound, foul him, and I'd do the same thing with Jamar Samuels.
And on cue Cologne misses both free throws. 2 big misses there for K-State. Johnson working on Cologne. He's got the advantage there. Missed though, and here comes Pullen. 2-on-1 with Brown. Good help though defensively, and a good decision by Pullen.
Absolutely.
Clemente, boy, uses that elbow, doesn't he, to shield himself a little bit. Big offensive rebound there for Cologne.
Huge offensive rebound.
Pullen trying to get it inside. Cologne again. Clemente, how did he sense Mason coming?
Great decision. Pull the ball back out.
Cologne, that was a bad pass. Picked off by Abrams. Three-pointer. Got it! 5-point game. And a whistle and a foul on Mason will send Clemente to the line when we come back. Texas trying to come back, being led by A.J. Abrams, who all of a sudden has 4 3-pointers in the game.
It looks like nothing else on the road right now, proclaims GQ magazine.
Did you see that?
The interior positively oozes class, raves car magazine. Slick and sensuous, boasts the Washington Times. The most striking VW in recent memory, declares...
Okay, I get it already.
I think we were in a car commercial.
If you want to do great things in your world, spend some time in ours.
Living in Cramples Gap, there's really nothing much to do but work.
People work hard. Everybody's got to work hard. Got to survive. I think everybody needs a break.
And welcome to Las Vegas.
We're going to tear it up, dude. Drink some drinks, try and get some ladies, burn it down, leave ashes.
This is awesome.
This trip has been one of the best experiences of all time.
Is it possible to fit a square peg into a round hole? Well, if that square peg is Whataburger's patty melt, and that round hole is your kisser, you betcha. The Whataburger Patty Melt is back. 2 patties, jack cheese, creamy pepper sauce, and grilled onions on Texas toast.
What a burger!
Just like you like it.
Today's Big 12 game brought to you by Phillips 66, hard-working gas. By Whataburger, just like you like it. Shelter insurance for your auto, home, and life. Seek shelter today. And by Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you. We welcome you back to the University of Texas in Austin. The band and these Longhorns trying to fight back. They trailed by 17 once upon a time, and they're within 5, but going to the line will be Denis Clemente, who has been unbelievable for the Wildcats today. Clemente with a career-high 36 points, including 6 for 6 from three-point range, 4 for 4 from the line. Is there any doubt he is our Sonic most valuable player of the game? Enjoy their new everyday value menu. It delivers the great variety you'd expect, all for only $1 each. 37 points All these numbers career highs for Denis Clemente. And he calmly strokes home both free throws, and a little comfort again. The lead back to 7. Mason has it stripped by Pullen. It goes off of Pullen, out of bounds.
You know, you talked about that shot clock when the downtime and the coaches were talking to players, and you anticipated, or you said maybe it benefits Kansas State. I think you're right. It's almost like a little of the momentum Texas had going, they've lost now.
Well, they're not going to allow an easy basket for Gary Johnson, and that's actually a good move by Kansas State, because Johnson just 4 for 7 from the line in this game. So he'll have to earn it. The only bad news for K-State there is it stops the clock. These are bonus points for Texas if he can hit these free throws.
If Frank Martin is putting Darren Kent in, who's over at the scorer's clock for Luis Colon, what a nice coaching move. You take a guy who's shooting 56% from the free throw line, take him out and get in Darren Kent, who's shooting 76%.
I'm not a mathematician, but that's a 20% increase.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better. But now Ron Anderson has checked in for Jamar Samuels. Ron Anderson just 46%, and that's the man, if you're Texas, if he gets the rebound, you foul him immediately.
Gets them both. 5-point game. Here comes Balbay. Rick Barnes has to kind of go back and forth as well, because Mason and Balbay both are bad free throw shooters. So he wants them in for defense. They're both pretty good defenders.
No longer is Rick guarding the inbound passer.
Just really changing things up there. Pullen works out of a double team.
Well, if I'm Texas, I let Ron Anderson flash open. I mean, I just sag off of him and invite Kansas State to throw him the ball.
Clemente, timeout call. The last one for Frank Martin and the Wildcats. Still applauding, still clapping. His team hanging on to what was once a very comfortable lead. 14 seconds on the shot clock. The Wildcats, why are they in front? They've done it with defense today. They created 20 turnovers, and we're going to make Dominique Sutton our defender of the game, brought to you by the U.S. Navy. He came up with 3 steals and 4 rebounds in this game.
Really set a tempo early in the first half. The story of this game was turnovers, and Kansas State, Dominique Sutton and his teammates did such a good job of pressuring the ball, and that's all the defense they needed for Denis Clemente.
He is the offensive hero of this game.
Holy smokes, is he ever, maybe of the season. You know, Craig Brackens had 42 points last Saturday against Kansas, but Denis Clemente is just exploded here in Austin. 36 points for Denis Clemente. He has been outstanding.
Well, this will be for him, out of 7 games in the Big 12. This will be the 4th time he's led Kansas State in scoring. Pullen pulls up. That's no good. Sutton up over the back. And that stops the clock with 2:12 to go.
Jacob Pullen, why do you take that shot? Boy, I don't understand that. I bet that's what Frank Martin's about to say to him right now.
Well, a foul here on Sutton means that he is fouled out of this game. That's why all the players sprinted over to Frank Martin. He's got the time to insert a new player for Dominique Sutton. So now coaches will use this like another timeout.
Yeah, so if you have an open shot and you're Jacob Pullen, you go ahead and take it, but you don't take a contested one. I mean, he went to the elbow, jump, double pumped. That was a bad shot, especially when you only got a 5-point lead with 2:12 to go.
And now Sutton, our Navy defender of the game, Reed, he is at port.
The ship has landed.
Yes, it has. And going to the line will be Varez Ward. Ward, as we mentioned, hit all 6 of his free throws against Baylor the other night. Ward in this game is 2 for 2, so he's on a nice little run here from the free throw line. This comeback by Texas is like watching Lance Armstrong climb the hill at the Tour de France.
With Rick Barnes passing him on the left.
Bad free throw there. And the rebound by Anderson.
Boy, Anderson's got the ball. You foul him. this is a matchup here. Varez, Ward, and Denis Clemente.
Huge possession in this game. Huge.
Well, nobody's counting.
Shot clock at 10. Pulling. Doesn't get the basket. So Texas comes up with a nice defensive stand. It's a two-possession game. Abrams coming off a pick, throws up a three. It won't go, but Ward is there with a rebound. Blocked by Kent, and then a travel. Kent got tangled up when he came back down to the court and fell down and traveled with it.
Well, a terrific offensive rebound by Varez Ward. He had a beautiful up fake, and I thought he was going to stick it back in. Watch the up fake, grabs a great rebound, lifts all the K-State defenders off the floor. Good block by Darren Kent. I did not realize Darren got a piece of that shot.
The other thing, the crowd was screaming for a foul when A.J. Abrams shot the three. But one of the things that Abrams does is Lance Armstrong and his son Luke check out the action here. Abrams, when he shoots, a lot of times will kick his legs out, and it's very easy for a defender to kind of bump into the legs. I don't know if that's a foul or not a foul, and it's interesting whether you get the call or you don't.
If the official is watching him do it, they will not give him that foul. If they follow the flight of the ball and then look back and see the contact, they'll call a foul.
Well, you see no timeouts remaining for K-State. Both teams in the double bonus. 2 timeouts remaining for the Longhorns. The key here, Reed, when you look at no timeouts remaining for K-State, if they have trouble inbounding the ball again, they can't call a timeout. I've seen it happen before when you do, and it's a technical foul.
I'm not so sure if I'm Texas, I wouldn't put Damian James back guarding the inbound passer. And if during that timeout, Frank Martin better have reminded his kids, hey, we're out of timeouts.
Inbounds play, and a hard foul here. They send Ward to the line. Fred Brown with the foul.
Boy, how did he get so open? I think they thought he was coming off of these screens, and instead he just back cuts. And boy, talk about a defensive breakdown. Oh, man.
Good call by Rick Barnes on the inbounds play. Now Ward again, who's that streak going. Of course, just stopped with his last free throw. Able to hit this one, get another streak started. Right now it's a one-possession game. Boy, 1:19 remaining. The Longhorns, who trailed by 17 once upon a time. It's a two-point game. Can Kansas State inbound the ball? They've had trouble. Fred Brown wasn't quite ready for the ball.
Turnover by Duke Etzel.
They get it to Pullen. And now Texas will back off. Another huge possession in this game.
Great defense by Varez Ward, chasing Clemente off of a staggered screen.
Clemente forces one up. It won't go. James soared through the air. Good job to help out on Abrams. Tries to go the other way. Inside. Johnson. That's too strong off the glass. Clemente's got it, and they wrap him up. Will send Clemente to the line. Clemente hasn't missed a free throw in the game.
Watch Denis Clemente as he's dribbling past Varez Ward. He grabs his shirt. Watch him reach out with his left hand. He keeps going. Look, he grabs his shorts. He's trying to pull his shorts away from him. Man.
Wow.
If you pants somebody, is that an offensive foul?
So Clemente at the line can make it a two-possession game again.
Boy, how good has he been?
What a game for Denis Clemente.
Man.
If he's not the player of the week in the Big 12 this week, I don't know who would be.
We need an investigation. What a game.
Coming off a great game, really, for him against Missouri. Only had 10 points, but he had 7 assists in that game. In addition to his 40 points, 3 assists in this contest, and it's a 2-possession game again.
Texas has got to attack the basket.
Mason. Nice shot and a foul. Wow. The foul on Samuels coming in underneath Mason.
Watch Justin Mason slow down and jump straight up in the air. That's a nice body control by Justin Mason. And Jamar Samuels had the right idea, but you see him sliding.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
That was a good look at it there. You could see as Samuels was there, but then he was leaning over with his body.
Boy, great camera work down there. Well, we take our guys for granted.
Yeah.
We got some of the best cameramen in the business. That was a great angle.
Hall of Famers. So now to make it a 1-point game. And he got it. 73-72. 22 seconds remaining. Timeout, Texas. Timeout. They have 1 timeout remaining. So Frank Martin huddles. The key for Kansas State, you got to get the ball inbounds.
I was just thinking the same thing. Frank Martin's got to remind his guys, we don't have a timeout. If you have to eat the ball, then eat it. But don't look at that ref and call a timeout. If I'm Rick Barnes, I put Damian James back face guarding the inbound passer.
Well, while they huddle up, let's take a look at our 6th man of the game, brought to you by Motel 6. And one of the reasons the Longhorns have been able to make a comeback here today is the play of Dexter Pittman, who comes in with 8 points and 6 rebounds. He is our Motel 6 6th man of the game.
Well, and more important than just 8 points and 6 rebounds, really changed the tone of this game for Texas. He came in, he brought energy, he used his big body, established an inside presence for the Longhorns.
I'm going to give a vote, too, to Fred Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Who had 10 points today, the only other guy in double figures for the Wildcats. Fred Brown has really been stellar here today. All right, here is our situation. Kansas State has the ball in a 1-point lead with 21.8 seconds remaining. Texas has only 1 timeout remaining. Kansas State, they're out of timeouts. If there's a foul, it'll be a 2-shot foul no matter what. Both teams are over the bonus. If there's a tie-up, and this is key at this point in the game, it would be in favor of the Longhorns.
Kansas State has got to be able to get this ball inbounds. You got to draw a play. I would use Darren Kent to set the screen for a little guard and then pop him to the ball and throw it up high, because if he sets a screen for a little guy, then he'll have a small guy guarding him.
Whatever your go-to play is as an inbounds play, you go to it now.
This is it.
So
watch Darren Kent. He'll come in the left of your screen. He'll come set a screen for pulling, and then he'll pop back to the ball. Oh, no.
They throw it back to Kent out of bounds. There's your go-to play. Pullen, they foul him. So Pullen, who has had an off night from the field, just 1 of 13, with a big chance here. But even if he hits both free throws, it's still a 1-possession game.
Tell you what, that was a gutsy play. I've seen that play a lot of times where the guy doesn't get completely out of bounds, and he's stepping out of bounds when the guy throws it to him, and it's a turnover.
So Pullen, 70% on the year. His first free throws this afternoon. Perfect.
Pure. Texas with just 1 timeout.
Would you foul here up 3, or is there too much time remaining?
Too much time.
So a timeout by Rick Barnes.
Yeah, if you're Frank Martin, I don't foul with a 3-point lead until that clock gets down under 7.
And again, I say foul, and that's assuming you hit the free throw.
Yeah,
you're obviously not going to foul when you're up 2. And I agree with you. I wouldn't foul with this much time remaining. Well, Kansas State came in here, the last team to beat the Longhorns on their home court. Wildcats knew that. They thought they could come in and create some havoc, and they certainly have done that. They led by 17 once upon a time. Now, the Longhorns are the 19-game win streak. They know they have great pride here at the Frank Irwin Center and everywhere. and they've come storming back to make it a 2-point game. Last time the Longhorns lost right here at home was to Kansas State in 07, 73-72. Kansas State right now with one more free throw for Jacob Pullen, and then we'll see what play Rick Barnes is drawing up, because this is the last time out for the Longhorns.
And you do not have to have a three-pointer. Even if Jacob Pullen makes this, if you get a clean look for A.J. Abrams, you take the three-pointer. But if I'm Rick Barnes, if Jacob Pullen makes this, you're down by 3. Everybody else attack the basket. You're in the double bonus. You'll shoot 2 free throws. 19.1 is plenty of time to make some free throws and do this again.
Well, let's see if the timeout iced the shooter here. Pullen with just 4 points today. If he can get to 5, it'd be a huge point for K-State. And it's off, no good. 2-point game.
Attack the basket.
Mason does attack.
Boy, don't foul if you're Texas.
James knocked it out of bounds. 6.6 seconds remaining.
No timeouts, either team. If you're Kansas State, try to throw the ball to Clemente or Jacob Pullen while he's turning the corner and running down the court. Texas cannot foul in this situation.
Inadvertent horn. Clemente with 1.9. No! His first 3-point miss of the day, and we're going to overtime.
What a comeback by the Texas Longhorns. So often you see a team when they get down by 17 points, if they can fight back, by the time they get there, they're out of gas. Boy, the Longhorns have just fought and fought and fought to tie this game.
Kansas State sitting in that huddle right now thinking about what was once a 17-point lead, but they can't think about that now. Now they got to regroup and get ready for overtime against a rejuvenated Texas team who all of a sudden has all the momentum in this game.
With Dominique Sutton fouled out, he's out of the game. Look, this is not the play you would run if you had a timeout. You would not throw the ball and make him go the full 94 feet. Now that's the price you pay for calling that quick timeout early in the second half. And it was a good look. I thought it was in. We're sitting right behind. Yeah, we're sitting right behind Denis Clemente, and I thought that shot was going in.
How has Texas been able to come back here today?
Just the energy. That's what changed this game. A.J. Abrams, you pointed it out. A.J. Abrams hit a couple of big shots, but then the energy changed, and suddenly all the loose balls were going to Texas.
How much more gas does Denis Clemente have in the tank with 40 points here today at the Frank Irwin Center in a frenzied state right now in Austin, Texas, as the Longhorns trying to extend their 19-game home winning streak against a very game and tough Kansas State Wildcat team. With Reed Geddes, I'm Dave Armstrong as we go to overtime. This is the first overtime game for either team this year.
Denis Clemente, 40 points, 6 for 6 from behind the three-point line, 8 for 8 from the free throw line.
Now, they didn't count that last as an attempt because, to me, that last shot that he put up, that would make it 6 for 7. And I see what you're saying because I just got the stats handed to me, too, and it still says 6 for 6. But it looked like he missed that last one.
I think you've got to count that as an attempt.
Think so. His 40 points, by the way, ties an Irwin Center opponent's record set by Rob Williams of Houston back in 1981.
I wasn't in that game, but I played with Rob Williams, and he put 40 up on a lot of people.
Oh, they're saying off of Anderson.
Listen, if I'm Texas, every time Ron Anderson gets the ball, I'm going to foul it. He's a 46% shooter. If I have a choice of Ron Anderson standing at the free throw line or Denis Clemente with the ball in his hands, I'm taking Ron Anderson.
James, rebounding is becoming a factor. Anderson with the ball ball, but then a tie-up. And remember, we talked about that arrow. Now the arrow switches because it's overtime, and it will be Texas's ball. So, no, K-State's ball. Excuse me. So the Wildcats with the ball here in the overtime.
Overtimes, both teams get an additional timeout.
Right. We're just told that Kansas got by Colorado today, 66-61. So the home court winning streak goes to 36 for KU, where they got more than they bargained for from Colorado today.
Credit Jeff Buzdelic and his Buffaloes. There would be a lot of reasons for that team to go into Lawrence, Kansas and just kind of roll over. And boy, it sounds like they did anything but roll over.
And here comes Clemente. 8 for 8 from the line today. And that'll be a new record by an opponent at the Irwin Center. By the way, he is the 12th player in K-State history with 40 or more points. The most ever by a guard happened by Ski Jones. Remember him, Askia Jones?
Sure.
He had 62 points against Fresno.
Wow.
Yeah, 62.
Is that a regulation game?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
What a game for Clemente, though. I mean, his previous season high for Kansas State was 20 points. And he has more than doubled that here today. So Kansas State with a lead again. Last time that Texas had the lead, it was 17-16.
Kansas State now in a zone, a 1-2-2 zone with Darren Kent up on the point. Boy, look for the down low. That's exactly where you should attack it.
Offensive rebound, Texas. Abrams, air ball, and that's off James. It'll go to K-State. Boy, A.J. Abrams, he helped bring Texas back. What a wild point range for Abrams today.
Wow.
Denis Clemente. By the way, you see that D-E-N-I-S, and I know a lot of people think we're just nicknaming him Denny, but he's from Puerto Rico, and that's how you say his name, Denny.
And that's the way I say it about 8 out of 10 times. The other two, they're not so good.
Pullen. Clemente. Again, he uses that field a little bit, doesn't he? Goes baseline. Anderson with a nice offensive rebound. And Kansas State with a 4-point lead. Mason into the paint, loses the handle. James gets it and is fouled from behind. If that's on Kent, that'll be 5 on him.
Interesting adjustment by Frank Martin going to the 2-3 zone in overtime. We saw it, but only for about 30 seconds during regulation. And interesting strategy to change things up in OT.
It is on Kent. It is his 5th. He leaves with 5.7 rebounds in this game. So he joins Dominique Sutton over on the bench. Both those guys have fouled out of the game.
Well, and the biggest thing this does, that takes Darren Kent's 76% free throw shooting off of the floor and puts it over on the bench.
Interesting. So now you've got to go with Cologne. You've got to go with Anderson. 2 guys that don't shoot nearly as well from the line.
For Kansas State, number 32, Jamar Samuels.
4-point lead in overtime for Kansas State here at the Irwin Center in Austin, Texas. The Longhorns have won 19 straight here. They're ranked number 12 in the country. He's Reed Geddes. I'm Dave Armstrong. Damian James going to the line. James has had another solid game today for Texas. 17 points, 11 rebounds. It's its 8th double-double of the year. 29th in his career. He is 7 of 8 from the line today. As loud as this place gets, it sure gets quiet for those free throws. I would have thought Texas had all the momentum coming into this overtime. Give Kansas State credit with this 4-point advantage. Still a long way to go, though. We saw that, a furious comeback by Texas, trailing by 17, but you've got to hit free throws.
Got to make
two big misses there.
You're exactly right. It's tough to win a game in the Big 12 in overtime if you're going to miss free throws.
And Kansas State redoing what you called for a long time ago, and that is pulling back to the point and allowing Clemente to run baseline. And a foul on Abrams here. And that'll be 5 on Abrams.
Oh, man.
So Texas loses their leading scorer, A.J. Abrams, who gets poked in the eye, but is whistled for the foul. And it also sends Fred Brown to the line. Abrams gets 15 points, but boy, he did it the hard way.
Yes,
5 of 21, 4 of 14 from three-point range. Well, you look at the Texas Longhorns today. One of the early highlights for them, A.J. Abrams with that three-pointer, the all-time Big 12 leader in that department. Career-wise, Clemente was unstoppable. Abrams helped bring Texas back in the second half from a 17-point deficit with 15 points today. But again, it's just so much Clemente in this game. Denis Clemente with 42 points, by far and away a career high. Those 4 three-pointers in a row in the second half were a huge key. Abrams, again, trying to get Texas back in this game. The desperation shot at the buzzer goes off no good. That's why we're in overtime. And now Brown with a chance to extend the K-State lead. Only a 61% free throw shooter. You'd think he'd be a lot better than that because he's such a good three-point shooter.
Shoots 43% from behind the line.
Yeah.
I mean, you think he would be an 85% free throw shooter.
And misses 2.
Yeah, did not look good.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, this is a good adjustment. I would pull that zone in tight if I'm Kansas State. A.J. Abrams is out of the game for Texas. There's really no outside shooting threat on the floor. There's no reason to extend the defense that far.
See, Connor actually used to be that. He's not right now.
I would pack that thing in so tight.
And Damian James, despite a packed-in zone.
Yeah, but there's no reason to allow Damian James to catch that ball at the elbow. Both teams in the double bonus.
2-point game. Clemente throws up a floater that
James.
won't go. Here comes
1-2-2, short corner and offside post for diagonal passes or where you can attack. You see just no outside shooting threats for Texas. They're throwing it around and just kind of looking at each other.
Shot clock down to 10. James gives it up. Mason. Looked like he might have gotten away with a walk. Hands one home to tie it up.
You talk about working hard for a shot. Rick Barnes wants his team pressing, and he can't get his guys after made shots to listen to him. They may be a little tired. Tough matchup for Damian James on the perimeter.
Good pass inside and a foul. This one on Johnson. So the third on Johnson.
Texas foul charge to number 1, Gary Johnson.
It'll send Samuels to the line, a 61% free throw shooter. Samuels today 2 for 2. You see, this is becoming a battle of attrition now. Abrams is fouled out for Texas. Mason and Ward each have 4. Sutton and Kent have each fouled out. Cologne and Anderson each have 4.
Both teams still have their overtime timeout, and right now Texas looks tired to me. You see a lot of guys with hands on hips.
This is where all that conditioning pays off. Samuels with a big free throw there to give Kansas State the lead again. And again, the last time Texas had a lead was 17-16. one-point game, nearing the 1-minute mark of overtime.
Kansas State going back to man-to-man. That surprises me.
There is 1 minute left in overtime. 1 minute.
Mason, they trapped him. He got rid of the ball to James. Underneath, Johnson. And a foul on Clemente. That's only his second foul.
Nice job of Gary Johnson. See if they get him two-shot. Well, it's two-shot double bonus. But he went up quick, trying to give that as obvious that Clemente was going to foul him. He went up quick, trying to get that ball up. Watch how quick he turns when he catches this ball. Nice find by Damian James, right in the middle of the paint. Watch how quick he tries to get up off the ground.
2 shots.
Johnson 6 of 9 from the line today. Ties it. A chance for Texas to take their first lead since it was 17-16.
If you're Kansas State, do you go back to the man-to-man or you stay in that zone?
I go to the zone.
I agree.
Especially with the weak shooting for Texas outside.
Absolutely. And the fact that you're in a double bonus, and so you can't afford to foul, and you spread the floor out, match up, and there's a good chance you're going to foul.
Well, how many missed free throws in this overtime? Each team has missed at least 3 in this overtime period. And a timeout, the only one taken for Frank Martin.
Kansas State.
So we're down to 41.9 seconds remaining. The Wildcats using their overtime timeout, tied at 79. This is sort of the old 2-for-1 possession portion of the game, isn't it?
Well, if you subtract 35 seconds from that, then you got 6 seconds. I don't know if you're Frank Martin, you really want to get a shot up in 6 seconds.
That quick? Okay.
You could end up getting a bad shot, but it's not a bad idea. And I bet he's mentioning it. He's saying, look, run your offense. If you get a quick look, go ahead and take it. But make sure it's a good, clean look. Extremely important you get a good shot.
You know, and you look at it, too. With so many guys in foul trouble, so many guys you're looking at strategy-wise, with only one timeout for Texas, no timeouts left for Kansas State, you've got to do a lot of coaching in this huddle in a short period of time.
Well, you're not only talking about whether you're trying to do a 2-for-1 on the offensive end, you're reminding them what we're doing on the defensive end. And the key is, boy, quit pressuring the ball. If you're going to go man-to-man, give those Texas players a cushion. I mean, don't chase Justin Mason out here to El Paso on the floor, on the Texas decal. Step back, give them a cushion, and dare Texas to beat you with a jump shot.
I think the last time they went to the man, I think that was just to kind of confuse Texas a little bit.
Maybe.
And I know that I was talking to Pat Knight a couple of weeks ago, and they've actually run some plays this year where he'll just yell out shark, and they'll switch from man-to-man to zone or zone to man-to-man in the middle of a defensive possession.
Pat just sent me a text message. He appreciated you giving that call out over the air. Hey, Pat, you're going to have to change that call. Yeah. My partner ruined it.
Call it something else, Nemo or something, but anything but shark.
You got to pick a different animal.
Right.
But the point you make is good. A lot of times in this situation, especially coming out of a timeout, you want to change your defense.
Yeah.
Because Rick Barnes is over there and he's drawing up a play, and he doesn't know whether he's drawing it up for a man offense or a zone offense. And I'm not sure it really matters with who he has on the floor. He's got to get that ball inside the paint and attack the basket regardless of what the defense is doing.
I'll tell you, there's one group of very brave and valiant men watching this game closely, and that's the 1st Battalion, 7th Field Artillery Regiment, led by Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bales. You see their emblem on the K-State jersey. They really pull for each other. Earlier this year, in the summer, Kansas State, the entire team went there to Fort Leavenworth and visited that battalion, and they encouraged each other, and every result is followed by that 7th Field Artillery over in Iraq. So we say hello to those gentlemen watching the results of this game closely. Whoa! Samuels almost lost the handle. Lucky to get it back. Shot clock down to 6. Brown pulls up, long three-pointer. Got it! Wow!
Wow, what a shot by Fred Brown. The fans are so excited. Some guy just clubbed me on the back of the head.
And a timeout by Rick Barnes. He's beside himself, can hardly believe it. Freddie Brown picks up where Denis Clemente leaves off. Fred Brown, who missed 2 free throws, comes through with a huge three-pointer here.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. He's kicking himself for missing those free throws, and man, what a big shot for Fred Brown. Now remember, if you're Rick Barnes, you don't have a shooter like Fred Brown. You don't. A.J. Abrams has fouled out. He's over there on the bench. You're down by 3. Again, I know you're tempted to take a 3 with 14 seconds. I still attack the basket and try to get to the free throw line. I do not live and die with 3-point shooters that are on the floor right now for Texas.
And I'll be honest, I'm a little tempted, if I'm Kansas State, to maybe foul here. I'm just a
Not
little.
at 14 seconds.
I understand. That's certainly the way everybody looks at it. There's too much time left here. But how many times have we seen a team hit a 3 at the end and tie it up and go into another overtime or whatever? We'll see the strategy of Frank Martin here as Kansas State comes out of their defensive huddle. And Kansas State with a 3-point lead, 14.6 seconds remaining. Maybe you don't, because Texas doesn't have that 3-point threat out there.
They're going man-to-man.
And they foul inside.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do if I'm Rick Barnes. That was perfect execution coming out of that timeout.
You know, and the problem there for Samuels, if Johnson gets that ball up on the rim and somehow makes it, now that's a 3-point shot. So good news for K-State is that Samuel's foul was hard enough that Johnson couldn't make it. Now, do you hit the first and miss the second here?
No. Plenty of time.
Well,
so much for that. It's moved now.
Yeah.
But again, you got to foul on the rebound. If you miss this, you got Jamar Samuels, who shoots 61%, and you got Ron Anderson, who shoots 46%. You foul immediately on the rebound.
Johnson, 7 of 12 from the line. If the second makes it a 2-point game, but again, you got to foul and foul quickly.
Got to foul quick. Boy, if there's any way at all, Texas, you try to keep that ball out of Denis Clemente's hands.
Can you just foul Anderson, not make it look obvious?
Leave him open. They've left him open. There it is. Perfect execution.
Got to foul him.
Perfect execution. Did you see Gary Johnson step back off of him? Who made that play was really Varez, Ward, and Justin Mason. They denied Pullen and Clemente. Gary Johnson executed perfectly. He stepped back off of Ron Anderson, allowed him to receive the ball, and then fouled immediately. Perfect execution.
In a sense there, I'm a little surprised they had Anderson in the front court at all. So Anderson goes into the corner. The refs are huddling over by a monitor to make sure they have the right shooter, but we know it's Anderson. And they're looking at that right there and checking the clock. 7.8 seconds remaining with the foul occurring. And Anderson is definitely going to be the shooter. I'm a little surprised Kansas State didn't just send Anderson down to the end of the court.
Absolutely, I agree.
Keep him out of the fray.
4 seconds went off the clock on that play?
Yeah. Yeah, 11.8.
Yeah, that's a lot of time before you foul. The clock started running too soon.
So it shouldn't be that much time.
Yeah, sure shouldn't.
Yeah,
Boy, I don't know how you correct that. You expect that at home. I mean, you expect that on the road. You don't expect that at home.
Maybe a second?
Boy, I don't know. It's just hard for the officials. I mean, how do you correct that timing error?
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to do, though, is put it.
Again, the clock should not start until Ron Anderson touches the ball. So watch on the bottom of your screen.
There's one.
Yeah, starts before he even lets go of it.
I would say 2.5 seconds
absolutely.
at least.
I would put that back to 10. Well, that's a horrible clock mistake.
Yeah.
Just a horrible mistake.
And that's a home clock.
That's what I mean.
So they'll put some time back on the clock. And really, this is a guesstimate as much as anything.
Yeah, but it started at 11. How much are they putting back on?
I'm saying 1.5 is going to be put back on because it was 10.3. The clock went down 1.5 seconds, so they should put 1.5 back on the clock at least. When I was doing it in my head, 1,000, 2, 1,000. The clock doesn't really start until, though, it touches Anderson's hand. So it's not when it leaves the hand of the inbounds player. And so it was 11.8.
How can you start the clock like that?
It goes down to 9.9, I would say 9 seconds even. So again, it's right around 2.5, 2.8.
Yeah, the key is you need to see it in real time and then count how long before the foul.
Well, right there he's got
it. You started 11-1.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a math problem, if anything else. I think it's going to be 2 seconds added. Now they've added, in a sense, too much time.
11-3.
So they only took 0.5 off the clock, and I think that's wrong. I think it should be 1 second. Anyway, comes down to these free throws. One misses.
Frank Martin not watching. He's looking the opposite end of the court. Does he have a rosary with him?
I think so. He's
Look at
down
him.
on his knees.
What a great shot.
He just needs one of these to go. He needs this one to go. Takes a peek and it rims out no good. Rebound Kansas State. And it was Fred Brown who made the play again.
Poked that ball loose. Connor actually boxed out and did not go secure the ball. Wow. I tell you what, Frank Martin didn't watch those free throws, but he sure turned around and watched that rebound.
Rick Barnes can hardly believe it. So now it's Samuels at the line. He's 3 for 4 today. And he can't hit one. Oh my goodness.
Nice coaching by Frank Martin. Jamar Samuels looked over at him, panicked, and Frank went, hey, everything's okay. Just knock this down.
He does calmly make it. A 3-point Kansas State lead. 9.3 to go. Balbay gets it up quickly, and they foul him. Clemente with the foul. And that will send Balbay to the line. Good move by Kansas State, because Balbay only a 40% free throw shooter.
But what did you and I say? You don't do that till the clock gets under 7. 6.9, Frank Martin's team fouls.
All right, so you're telling me Clemente had a clock in his head and knew he had a 1/10 of a second to play with.
The reason you do that is because if you don't foul, all you got to do is make one shot. Now he's got to make a shot, he's got to miss a shot, they got to get the rebound, and they got to stick it back in. That's 4 good plays as opposed to 1.
So he makes that one. Now he's got to miss this one, right?
6.9. I'm not so sure I don't go ahead and make it. Justin Mason went up to tell him how to miss it, putting Dexter Pittman in for the offensive rebound.
Number 34,
he's obviously going to try to miss it.
So now, if he misses, you've got to get the offensive rebound. He does. And then hit the rim.
See, that's harder to do than you think.
Yeah.
You think it's easy to miss it. He missed that so bad, I'm not sure he knew the rule. I'm not sure Doge Balbay knew it had to hit the rim, because he wasn't even close.
No.
I mean, it was off to the right and too high.
A 2-point game. And again, Anderson over here in the near corner, they'll probably let him go again. Guarded by Johnson. Johnson saying, do you want me to just let him go? And this time Anderson running down the other end of the court. And an intentional foul called in the backcourt on Texas.
What?
That foul called on Varez Ward, an intentional foul before the ball was inbounded. So now Kansas State will get the free throws and the ball.
An intentional foul on Denis Clemente, who has 42 points?
Wow.
What?
So he fouls out of the game.
No, they did not call intentional.
They didn't. Well, he came in with that signal,
yeah,
didn't
he did. Yeah, there's no way you make that call.
So they didn't call it intentional. They just called it a foul. He came in with that signal, though. He crossed his arms to make the intentional foul call and then pulled that back. But now you send Clemente to the line, who's 10 for 10 from the line. With Ward now on the bench, he joins Abrams over there. Clemente with a career-high 42 points today. 2 free throws here could seal the deal for K-State. Should seal the deal with 2. Three-point Kansas State lead. 43 points for Denis Clemente. 44, and that should do it.
Don't foul.
Atchley, long three, nope. And the buzzer sounds, and Kansas State has upset the 12th-ranked Texas Longhorns, snapping a 19-game home court winning streak. And the way Kansas State did it, Reed, leading by 17, giving that up, going into overtime, and that man, Denis Clemente, with a career-high 44 to lead the way.
An absolutely spectacular effort. I mean, what a job Frank Martin's done. This basketball team started out 2 weeks ago. They felt and looked dead. They were 0-4 in the Big 12. They beat Colorado in overtime. They handle a good Missouri team, beat them by 16. And then they come into Austin, Texas, and behind the 44 points of Denis Clemente, beat the number 12 team in the country. What a basketball game.
That's a record for an opponent, we should add. Kansas State and Frank Martin, after losing the first four, they win the last 3 games in the Big 12. A huge one here today, 85-81. For Reed Geddes and our crew, Dave Armstrong saying so long. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN Regional Television, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports. And now let's get you to the studio where Doug Bell has a recap of the exciting action from the Big 12 today.
Dave, thank you. Welcome to Studio 66. Doug Bell and Brendan Manzer. And what can you say? Denis Clemente, a season high in the Big 12, 44 points. Bracken's had 42 against Kansas. This was much more clutch than Bracken's game, to say the least.
Well, a great performance. Kansas State, as Texas was coming back, and you thought, oh, that's too bad. Kansas State's letting this thing go. But a terrific job of not letting them get the victory. I mean, they just willed it to this afternoon. That's unbelievable. Yeah, what a wild game.
Yeah, he was 12 for 12 from the free throw line. A team that struggled on the charity stripe, he did not. Here's the scores now. Oklahoma, 78-68 winner. UConn also won, but they play Louisville Monday, so Oklahoma could still wind up number 1. Let's go back out to Austin. Reed Geddes standing by with head coach Frank Martin. Reed?
Now Doug and Brendan here courtside with a very happy Frank Martin. And Frank, talk a little bit about your team. 2 weeks ago, you're 0-4. You got freshman and sophomore. You've got no confidence. How do you get a team from that point to where they were today?
You got to stay positive. Like I told them, I said, you're our guys. You're the guys that signed the scholarships to come here. You're the guys that we wanted to represent us. I loved you guys before we lost our first conference game. We just got to get back to playing with the enthusiasm and the energy that we did for the whole first part of the season. But that's the thing the Big 12 does to you. There's so many good teams. I mean, Texas is unbelievable. I mean, they're so good, and our kids have persevered, and they feel better about themselves now.
Now defensively, I thought it was key the way you switched defenses. You were doing man-to-man. You changed the way you were guarding on the ball screens, and then going to the zone and then back to the man. I think that kept Texas off balance. Was that by design?
Yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to do. We didn't want them to get in rhythm. A.J. Abrams, those shooters like that are such rhythm guys, and we didn't want him to get going, but he's so darn good, and their team is so good on offense and defense. They took us out of everything we wanted to run, but it's a great win for our kids.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but Denis Clemente had a pretty good basketball game.
I know he went through a stretcher. He didn't miss any shots. He started making some. I called some sets for him, and our kids executed. To his credit, he put the ball in the basket. He's really taking our team by the horns. That's when you ask me about our enthusiasm. He's the guy that's just been through the ropes a little bit in the ACC, and he's taken this team on his back and led.
Well, I thought you did a good job. You moved him around. You had him at the point when he was hitting shots. You moved Jacob to the point, put him down on the baseline to give him more clean looks.
Absolutely. That's kind of the thing that we have, the advantage we have with those two guys in the game is that they can be interchangeable. Jacob didn't have a very good offensive game, but yet he played his tail off. He really competed. He was continuously talking to everyone on the floor, which is what you need to do to be able to win on the road.
Well, congratulations on a great win. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, Rick.
Doug, the last team to beat the Texas Longhorns here, 2007, Kansas State. They get another win today. Back to you guys.
Reed, thank you. 19-game home court winning streak for Texas is now history. Kansas did beat Colorado in a close one, so their winning streak is up to 36. And Baylor trying to snap Missouri's 14-game home winning streak. Let's check the score. And right now, it's what we expected so far.
Absolutely up and down. You know, Missouri got out of the gate in a big way, and you thought, once again, Missouri, which has done that in a great manner, was going to get that big lead, but Baylor has etched their way back into it, and that's a terrific ball game right now.
Looking forward to next Saturday, the very same Kansas State Wildcats will be in Norman to take on Oklahoma. You know, at first glance, that didn't look like a great game. I think it's going to be a great game.
Things have gotten a lot more interesting, haven't they? But you talk about Kansas State. They really had a tough start to their schedule when you open up with Oklahoma on the road, and then you have to go to your arch rival in Kansas. But 3 wins in a row, they are on a roll and have some serious momentum.
All right, we'll see what happens. That's next week. Of course, it's Kansas State against Oklahoma, and you'll see our 3 o'clock game also. That's the Big 12 Network, and in Studio 66, we'll start it off at 12:30 as always. We'll see you then. Join us this week for the Big 12 Network. Lots of exciting action. It's been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports. Enjoy the Super Bowl. See you next week, everybody.
Supportive